If you've ever walked into a store during Christmas time, heard a Mariah Carey Christmas song, and cringed a little bit, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. Folks, welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Market Edge Live. Good morning and happy Wednesday, December 18th. Hope you all had a great evening last night. We're back for another market day here today. I'll be honest, not a whole lot going on out there, but we're going to break it down and we're going to make sure that you're ready for the trading day. Then we're going to do some trading today. We're going to make some money, and we're just generally going to be happy today. I feel it. I felt it when I woke up. Let's get started. All right, folks. Hello and welcome back to Benzinga's Market Edge Live, coming at you here Wednesday morning, December 18th. We are really close to Christmas. I feel it. We're getting closer and closer, and boy, oh boy, going into stores can be a minefield because of the music. Y'all folks know what I'm talking about. People don't like Mariah because they were told to. I'll tell you what, I don't even know if I want to admit this, but what the hell? We'll go ahead and do that. I had a massive crush on Mariah Carey, holy smokes. Mariah Carey when I was younger, like massive. And the Christmas music, I actually like some Christmas music, but for whatever reason, her song's just not great. Not great at all. At least not for me. But in any case, it's still a reminder of one of my favorite times of year. We're actually supposed to get some snow here today in Chicago, although I don't see it, so I'll keep you posted on that. But nonetheless, let's go ahead and talk about the market. I don't need to. I am sure that there are some Mariah Carey fans out there that I offended. I don't want to do that. We want to stay away from the offending people. Let's go ahead and break down the market. Good morning to a whole bunch of you. Bobby, yeah, we're going to be talking about the quantum names. In fact, let me go ahead and add QUBT. I'm sure we're going to talk about all of them, but it'll just remind me by putting QUBT on the list. We'll definitely break that down here. Don't really have a whole lot of news stories, so we're probably going to be doing more charts and more ticker time. It is a Tim Melvin Wednesday. We are expecting him, so we should be getting some goodies from Tim Melvin as well. Good morning, White Chocolate Mocha. That's how you start a morning, with White Chocolate Mocha. Charles Payne on Fox Business World mentioned QBT a few weeks ago. Charles Payne will be someone I follow during this next administration. Charles Payne is awesome. I think he's totally underrated as far as a lot of the talking heads go. Doesn't get a lot of mention because he's on Fox Business instead of CNBC, but he's fantastic. Seen him do a lot of really good stuff, and he interacts with the regular folk over X. Really good stuff. I love Charles. Chuck, good morning. Drew, good morning. Another Chuck. We got multiple Chucks here today. It's going to be a Chucky type of day. That's good news. Paul, good morning. Hustle and Bustle, good morning. Bernhard, good morning. Jane, good morning. Ryan, anyone ever tell you you're incredibly positive? Yes, they have told me that. They've told me meaner things than that too, but we just delete those and we continue to be positive. That's how you live life. Leads for less stress, better skin, and more smiles. And that is a winning equation, if you ask me. Sun-kissed Yogi, good morning. Nice to see you. AJ Walker, good morning. Kumo, good morning. Jacob, you've been hitting some bangers in this chat. Good morning. Welcome back. 3D, what's going on? Silent Night. You know what? That is an underrated Christmas song. Underrated Christmas song. There is a version out there that is pretty good. I'll try and look it up. Might be a Mannheim Steamroller one. Not really sure. Mannheim Steamroller is generally my favorite, but in any case, 3D, good morning. Good to have you back. Harry, welcome back. Tom V, welcome back. Chris, welcome back. Mad Notes, welcome back. Okay. Good morning, folks. Let's go ahead and break down the SPY. S&P futures here. Well, let's just talk about all of the futures right now. S&P futures up 0.3 this morning. Dow futures up 0.3, a little bit more, plus 3.5. And the NASDAQ up 0.25% here this morning. So green arrows across the board. Let's see. VIX closed yesterday just shy of 16. We actually printed 1594 on the VIX, looking a little bit lower here today. So we'll see if that continues into the day. But for the most part, so far, green arrows across the board here today. Looking at the SPY, this is basically where we came in. I'm actually going to share 13's chart as well, just because he does a really, really good job breaking it down here. Here we are under the trend line that we have been, I tell you what, we have been interacting with this trend line since, July, right? This has really been going since the middle point of the year here. We're doing a really good job staying above the 20-day, and you have seen recently we've had some volume ramp here. Now, today is FOMC day, so we'll see what the FOMC gives us here, or what the meeting ends up giving us here. I've got 25 basis point cut. I think the market's pretty much got that baked in. I would imagine that that's what we're going to see here today. No surprises. I don't have any trades lined up for that. I expect that we're going to have some of these little movers to trade here prior to that. We'll see if we get an outsized move after that print, but I'm not too sure about that. We'll see. We'll see how that goes, and we will react accordingly. Now, really quickly, I did want to share 13's chart from yesterday because we've been taking a look at a lot of these. Let me see, which one is it here? I believe it's this one. Here we go. So here are some of the levels that we're looking at that are actually above 600. You get this one right here, 603 and change. We have a lot of wicks beneath it. We're really trying to get back up to the trend line. We're really trying to hold in there. Today, so far, a pretty decent start. We'll see if we're actually able to get past that here today. We'll see if the FOMC brings us past that. So, and if you want, we can always ask 13 about his levels when he shows up here today. Okay. As mentioned with the FOMC, U.S. stocks are set to open higher as rate cut expectations surge. All eyes on the Dow Jones to break its 9-day losing streak. Been pretty bad for the Dow here. If you take a look here at the DIA, which is the tradable ETF, you can see this thing has just been down every single day coming into its 50-day moving average. We'll see if we can actually set a green day here today and maybe start the bounce from this area. We shall see. I'm hoping that that's the case. Next here, we've got some news with Microsoft and NVIDIA. Microsoft scoops up 485,000 NVIDIA AI chips, twice as many as its closest rival Meta. So we'll see if that actually affects either of these stocks. NVIDIA is one that we've been watching for obvious reasons here for some time. This continues to kind of trade down from this head and shoulders. Really, the question is going to be, do we end up bouncing off of the 100? Does it provide some pretty good support, or does it roll over and go to the 200? Frankly, I'd like this to really come into the 200. I don't know if it's going to be weak enough to do that. I feel like if we continue to move down, we're going to have more rotation out of NVIDIA into some of these other names, which would be good for us long term, good for us alongside swing traders as well. And we'll see if we end up getting that here. NVIDIA up almost 3% here in the pre-market. We'll see if that holds here. It is off those highs there. It looks like that was what, 135? Yeah, 135, your pre-market high here. NVIDIA looking pretty good there. Microsoft was the other one that was involved in that news story. Microsoft a little bit lower here, lower by about 0.25% here in the pre-market. We take a look at the Microsoft daily chart. We have really been marching back towards those all-time highs. I know we kind of came in off of those highs. We consolidated around those moving averages, which is totally normal and healthy behavior. And now we're making a move back up towards those highs. So we'll see if we end up taking those out. I do have that just for the sake of that value. Let me actually get you that value here, 468.35. So we'll see if we end up taking that out. On the upside, volume looking pretty good here on Microsoft, continues to expand here on this daily chart. So really good stuff there. Another note here, and actually I wanted to give you this article just in case you have it here. Boop. Let me go ahead and throw that here in the chat. Why is the Dow in such a historic funk, and how concerned should you be? Personally, again, waiting for this to turn around here. I don't know how worried you should be, but if you wanted some more context on this Dow's losing streak, that article was pretty good. Got that one here this morning. Okay, another piece of news here that's pretty good. Boop. Let's go ahead and talk about OKLO here. This did have some news. Now, this has been in a recent theme that has been paying our traders here. That nuclear theme, we've hit a number of those stocks multiple times. They've really made some good moves. OKLO getting back in the news here. OKLO and Switch from landmark strategic relationship to deploy 12 gigawatts of advanced nuclear power, one of the largest corporate clean power agreements ever signed. So if we take a look inside here, you can see we got a PR here this morning, right at about 7 a.m. I believe that was Eastern time. Let's check. I got a PR here this morning regarding this. Yeah, that was 7 a.m. here today. And as you can see, OKLO up 13% here this morning. So having a really nice pre-market. This is likely going to be, or this is definitely going to be in play today. It's likely going to drag some of the other names that we've had as well. We take a look here. I don't have the float percent of short being calculated here because I don't have a reliable float value. But as you can see, the short interest has been growing. Now, it did tick down a little bit in the last report that we got, but it's still quite elevated here at 12 plus million shares. Only a 1 day to cover. So we'll see if we get any type of actionable squeeze. But so far here today, OKLO looking pretty good. And I would imagine this is going to bleed into some other names. We'll be sure to check on SMR. This is another one that's moved with this theme before. You can see it moving here again in the pre-market. And then, NNE. I always get that mixed up here. NNE, Nano Nuclear Energy, is another one here that is moving here in the pre-market. So all of these, was GEV one of those two? Can't remember. GE Verona. Can't remember if this was one of them. Let me see here. Globally electric power industry. This is just an energy name, but I don't think power includes gas, nuclear, hydroelectric, steam. So this is also part of it. Not a straight nuclear play, but another one here that has some exposure there. This also looks like this is ticking up here in the pre-market. So we should have action here in some of those names today. Also, wanted to get this on your radar as well. We did have some earnings here this morning. Let's go ahead and take a look at those. First one here is going to be GIS. That's General Mills. GIS, here you go. Looks like we are trading lower here by 5%. We stopped right at that 50-day moving average and really couldn't get above it here. General Mills looks like the EPS of 140 beat the 122 estimate. Sales 5.24 billion misses the estimate of 5. No, that can't be right. That can't be right. Come on. Where are you in here? Here we go. Excuse me. Sales 5.24 beats the estimate of 5.14. Again, stock coming in here a little bit. Looks like they updated the full year outlook, and it's probably that guide that brought us back down here today. So, or bringing us down here today. So GIS, General Mills, down by about 5%. Looking to hold on to that, let's see, 62.5 level here. 62.5. Really, this is what's going to come into play. We are pretty much at the support level here. I'm going to actually mark this off on the chart as exactly 62. If we lose that today, probably some more downside ahead here on ticker GIS. Looks like we're almost in there or almost at that level. We'll see if we end up breaking that and going lower. If we do, we can set some more targets beneath it here, but should be able to at least test that level here today. RSI only 35, so we should be able to trade back down there a little bit more. But that's what's going on here. General Mills. Next stock that reported earnings here this morning is going to be Birkenstock Holdings. How many of you have owned hippie sandals in the past? How many of you have owned hippie sandals in the past? You let me know. Anyway, Birkenstock reporting some earnings here today. Birkenstock Holdings shares are trading higher after the company reported better than expected Q4 financial results and issued fiscal year 25 guidance. Stock is up pretty much the opposite of General Mills, up about 4.75% here. Looks like 58.69 is where we're at. Guess what? We are close. Looks to me like Berkshire wants to fill this gap here. I've got that at about 60.5 here. So another 2 points here on Berk in order to fill this gap. This has been a pretty good recent run off this 44 handle too. When was that we actually tested that? Middle of November. So nice little run here for Birkenstock. We've done really good work taking out some of these moving averages, getting closes above the moving averages, and then continuing to move higher here. So Birkenstock looking pretty good on that earnings report. Volume also looking pretty good. The one thing to keep in mind here, RSI still a little overcooked. We've been on the high end of the RSI range for some time. So So I'm not saying it can't continue to go that way, but worth noting here, 76 on the RSI. We probably are due for a pullback here pretty soon. Would be pretty sweet if we traded right up, filled the gap, and then pulled back in. That'd make this chart look pretty tradable here. Does say that the conference call is in progress, so maybe we'll get some more news out of Birkenstock as that continues. Now, I know that there was another one here. Let's see if it reported yet this morning. It's going to be LDTC. That's Letter Tech. Let's see here. This is going to be a real small name here. Looks like it did actually report, traded up and then back down. Yes, we did. Letter Tech Holding shares, EPS 272 up from the 272 loss, up from a loss of 48.85. Boy, the accountants having some fun with the books there. Sales 50K down from 52K. So this is a totally small company here. LetterTech adjusts financial records and refocuses on automotive AI software. So realistically, I mean, this really does kind of seem like pre-revenue here. I'm not sure I'm going to trade this one. Down 10% here. Looks like we've actually carved out a pretty decent range. So if this thing gets volatile, maybe there will be some trades here. But for the most part, we're going to pass. The movers list that we're about to check out with some of the quantum names that you folks want to take a look at already. Looking pretty good for some setups here today. So that's kind of what we're going to do, or that's kind of what we're going to focus on here around the open, I should say. One more thing to note tonight, we do have our biggest earnings reports of the week here tonight. First one is going to be Micron. Number one, just wanted to shout this out. The day that we had all of that trouble with the audio not playing and we're trying to figure it out. In the moment, I was trying to figure out, God, what type of things could we do on screen that doesn't require talking? And as you can imagine, that list was empty. One of the things that I tried to do here was outline a potential trade on Micron in the event that we recapture the 50-day moving average. That was going to be this yellow line here. And on that day, I know you guys couldn't hear me, but on that day, Benzinga Pro was still giving us the banner, letting us know when the earnings was, letting us know that it was close and that exactly when it was. And I thought, if this trades up into earnings, we actually have a potential trade here in it that lines up with the technical setup that we're seeing on the chart. And here you go. This trade ended up working. We gapped above that 50-day moving average. We never really tested the stop zone, and we went right to the target. And so far that we've stopped there, and we did all of that prior to the earnings print here tonight. So pretty sweet. No, it was about a 6-point trade there if you hit it on all of them. We'll see if we get more of a move here today. As you can see, Micron has really kind of moved off the $100 level to this $110 level right ahead of the print. So we'll see how Micron does here today. I got a good feeling. I have no position at the moment right now, but I got a good feeling here about Micron. I know a lot of you folks trade this quite a bit. I feel like you guys bring up Micron quite a bit, so I would imagine that there's a lot of trading going on here with Micron. I think, Robert, you hit this one quite often. Anyway, we'd love to hear what you folks are doing on Micron. We'd love to see if we get a better setup here today. I'm interested in some of the trades for earnings, but I don't have any of them put on. We'll see if that changes here today. The other stock that is reporting earnings here today is going to be one of those home builders, and that is ticker LEN. That is Lennar. Now, we've talked about several of these home builders recently. We actually, I think it was 2 weeks ago, Matt Maley came on here and said, hey, home builders might be a little bit weak. Since then, they've really kind of rolled over, and they've had some pretty good looking charts. To me, Lennar, the story, I mean, we'll see what earnings or what type of earnings they report here today. But to me, the next move here is this 500-day, right? It sure seems like the selling has really kind of increased recently. This thing has broken its trend line. It's broken the 200-day. It couldn't hold the 20-day. Sure looks like this 138.5 level is next up here on Lennar. That is going to be your 500-day moving average. By the time we get down here, if it doesn't go down here today or tomorrow, by the time we get down here, this moving average might also line up pretty nicely with the 141 low that we put in the summer of this year, July. Let's see, what day was that here that we actually had that dead low? July 5th, Friday, July 5th. So we'll see if those line up. That could actually be a pretty good bounce spot. again, not necessarily willing to trade this for the earnings print here today. Would much rather react to whatever the earnings are. But current trade plan here, lower we go on ticker LEN to that 500-day. Might as well check a couple more of the home builders here. Here's Toll Brothers. This one actually pretty decent short. I would say that is, if this shows weakness here today, let's actually look inside and see what it's like. Aha. So we had some weakness yesterday that took us right down to the level. You can see we're actually popping a little bit here on very, very light volume. And I'm talking hundreds of shares of volume, not even 1,000 total shares here in the pre-market. So let's not make too much of that. But Toll continuing to trade down here. Here's what I'm watching on Toll. I actually think that this is a decent area for a trade. All right. So we're currently at 132. We've got the 200-day there at 134. My gut tells me that we break the bottom end of this candle from Friday, December 13th. That low here is 132.30. That's only 40 cents away from where we're at. If we do break that low, I think that this thing is probably going to be in a free fall. First target that I would have here, probably somewhere around 122. That's still 10 points away from where we're at. So might look into some Toll puts here today. The one thing to keep an eye on, especially with the Fed decision coming here today, where does this candle close, right? Because if we show weakness in the morning and then all of a sudden we get the Fed data to come out and the market is just euphoric, like it sometimes is after that, and we actually trade up on a lot of these names and close above the 200-day, we could have a pretty decent, you could make the case, I would say, could make the case for a potential recapture of the 200-day and a launch off that spot. So my gut right now, as we sit here, tells me that we probably should trade a little bit lower here on some of these builders, in particular Toll. But let's see how that candle forms here today. No reason to necessarily buy this position right out of the gate. You probably will have an opportunity to add this later in the day as well. So I don't have a short position or a long position on for Toll, but I will be checking that out here today. And if I do take a position while we're on the show here, I will let you know. This is kind of what I'm looking at. Now, the next one here is PulteGroup, PHM. Here you go. Very, very similar situation, except this lost the 200-day, really didn't try to find any support from it and continued to move lower. This is the exact type of thing that we're trying to see from Toll if we do get that crack from the Friday lows, right? A break beneath the 200, a continued move down, the 500 should give us support. And we'll see. We'll see if the earnings here from Lennar end up giving this. I did miss this trade. This Lennar trade was actually pretty sweet too. Not only did we lose the 200, but that also lined up with the trend line that we lost at the same time. Ended up not taking it. Don't want to miss Toll if we get the exact same type of movement. PHM, thank you, producer. Really good stuff there. PHM also, piece of news here, looks like price target was lowered to 140 from 165 at Wells Fargo. Yep, there you go. So that was news yesterday in the morning. We'll see if that continues to affect Pulte Homes here today. Okay, really, really good stuff. Now, that was pretty much all I had on the list besides the movers. Let's see, it's 7:24. We're expecting Mr. Melvin here in a few minutes. We can start taking a look at the movers if you want. Let me make sure I didn't neglect anyone here this morning. Good morning, Chris. Good morning, Tom. Let's have our own Benzinga Santa Claus rally. So real quick, I'm just going to try and get ahead of this. This happens every year. People on Twitter argue about this every single year. The Santa Claus rally, as far as I've been taught, and as far as I know, the Santa Claus rally happens between Christmas and New Year's. Everyone seems to have a different date. They were just discussing this on CNBC the other day. So anyway, Santa Claus rally, I'm thinking after Christmas, is when we're going to get that. And I do think that's still on. I know that there's a couple of people in our ecosystem that don't really think we're getting a Santa Claus rally this year. I'm not too sure. Not too sure about that, but let's wait and let's see what happens after Christmas here. Good morning, Diamond Hotline. Great to see you again. Eva, good morning. Great to see you. CT, how can anyone trust these analysts when they're almost always wrong? Baird raised Tesla price target from 280 to 480 just to catch up and you will see it fall under 400 soon. Want to hear your price target and sensible valuation. So CT, you're actually bringing up a really, really good point. In fact, one might make the argument that analysts have a pretty cushy job, right? Because they seem like they're never wrong. When companies report earnings, the way that they phrase it is, oh, the company missed the analysts' expectations. They've never once said, yeah, analysts were way off sides on this one. They totally had this one wrong. It never works like that. So I totally understand. The one thing that I will say about this is that some houses are better than others. So you're mentioning Baird here. Look, Baird, generally speaking, pretty good house, but look, they don't always get things right. They don't always get things right. And when you have complicated issues like, for Tesla, there's still an argument now that Tesla's a car company versus a tech company, blah, blah, blah. Occasionally, you'll get some of these houses that are just off sides on one of them. Ask Gordon Johnson how he's doing with all his Tesla calls that go back years. He's been bearish on Tesla for what feels like almost a decade now. I don't want to speak out of term and misquote him, but he's been bearish on Tesla for a long time. Sometimes even the people that do their homework, they get it wrong. So the one piece of advice, I guess, if that's what you want to call it, the one piece of advice that I would give you here is follow the firms, but just understand that what they say is not necessarily set in stone, and they too make mistakes, even if they don't want to admit it. The reality is everyone makes mistakes. Everyone makes bad calls. That's just how it goes. Okay, folks, I know QUBT and NUKK. Believe me, we will spend a lot of time taking a look at those stocks and covering those stocks. But first, you know it. It's Wednesday and it's almost 8:30 in the morning. What does that mean? Yeah, you guessed it. It's time for one of our favorite guests, Mr. Tim Melvin. Let's go ahead and bring him on. Tim, good morning. Happy Wednesday. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. We're getting ready here. This, I think, is going to be our last show together of the year, Ryan. It's because the next Wednesday is, of course, Christmas Day, and the week after that, it's football day. So
hey, I'm gonna stop you right there. I love that. It's no longer New Year's Day. It is football day. Tim, you're not gonna get an argument from me out of that. Yes, you're correct. The next 2 Wednesdays here will be holidays. We gave everybody the day off. The market is closed, obviously, on Christmas Day and on New Year's Day. So do whatever else it is that you do when you're not here. Enjoy that time with your family and friends.
Right. So I've got my Snoopy Christmas cup, and as promised last night, Ryan, I have Christmas shirt number 2 ready to go for you there, out of the Tim Melvin Christmas shirt collection that my wife despises.
First of all, I love that you have a Christmas shirt collection. I think we will. I have to check with the producer. I'm pretty sure that this is the case, but I believe we are doing a show on Christmas Eve. As far as I'm aware, the morning show. I'll tell you what, I will wear a Christmas-themed sweater to that show that morning. I'll try and join you. I don't have the collection that you do, Tim, but you know what? You got to start somewhere. I'll go ahead and do that.
You're a young man. You have many Christmas shirt buying occasions ahead of you.
Okay, good. My producer having some fun with me here. Ryan said he would present the show from the Home Alone house for Christmas. I've actually driven by that house in Wilmette. Or was it Winnetka? It's one of those W suburbs.
One of those W.
And look, I've never been inside. I can't make any promises about doing a broadcast from there, but man, oh man, it feels like almost like a second home. I've watched Home Alone so many times. Okay. All right. Tim, I've had a whole bunch of coffee. I'm having a great time here this morning, which means I'm digressing from the market. Let's help me come back on track. I know we've got the Fed here today, and we all know that your recommendation for the Fed is to what? Find a glass of wine and drink it so that you don't blow up your account trying to trade it?
Yeah, look, you're going to make more money over your lifetime, your career, reacting to what happens on Fed Day than trying to predict what the Fed does, okay? We got a pretty good idea they're going to cut 25 basis points. That seems to be in the cards. And I will say that if you listen to the remarks that the Fed speakers that have been out and about, running around, running their mouths, and Jerome Powell, they don't really want to do this. Okay, there's a feeling of being boxed in, because if you look at recent economic data and recent inflation data, yeah, they don't. This is not a necessary emergency cut by any stretch of the imagination. So it's pretty well baked in. So how does the market react to that? Probably blah, no real reaction. But I've seen days where we all knew what was going to happen. We thought it would be blah, and it blew up in one way or the other because of where they put a comma in the statement. Yeah. So,
which seems ridiculous, but you're absolutely right. I mean, oh my God.
So you're kind of better off waiting and see. And if there's a reaction, generally speaking, fading or going with that reaction, depending what type of system you're using, is a much smarter play than trying to outguess the members of the governors of the board of the Fed, the board of governors of the Fed, and every analyst and economist in the country and their guess about what the Fed is going to do, and every trader who's going to respond to the guesses. I mean, you're playing 5-layer chess against, grandmasters when you try to predict what the Fed's going to do and how the market's going to react to it. So I would wait. So anyway, I bought presents today. That's what I do.
It is Christmas season.
It's Christmas. I bought presents. So reading on the Alpha Architect site this week, which I read constantly, and really you should be too. Wes Gray and his team do the best job of keeping on the leading edge of the curve when it comes to academic research. More importantly, a lot of academic research is garbage. Okay. And that's in almost any subject. There is something in academia called publish or perish. I don't know if you've heard of this, but if you're a tenured professor and you're going along and you're making some bucks and you're at one of the big universities and you're collecting a fat paycheck for not doing a hell of a lot, you have to be publishing research. It doesn't even have to be great research. It just has to get published. Mm-hmm. So in order to keep that incredibly cushy job and really good seats for the football game on the weekend, publish or perish. So a lot of stuff gets published not because it was a great idea or somebody had some insights. They didn't want to perish, so they published. So Wes and his team do a really good job of separating out the crap and the garbage and making sure that, we don't have to look at that or read that. So anyway, there's a study up on the site and they break it down. It's a blog post. The study is called Estimating the Long-Term Expected Returns, right? Now, this is something of the holy grail, right? How do you figure out what the stock market's going to do over the next blank years? Now, we've talked at length, at least I have, about the fact that most of the barometers right now are suggesting low forward returns. Mm-hmm. So this study looks, what are the important components and what are they saying? So the most important components of forecasting long-term returns are both, ready for this, the dividend growth rate, drum roll, because y'all are not going to like this, to CAPE ratio.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Now everybody, and we get so much flack. I mean, Met Faber, who uses the CAPE ratio a lot, and it's key to some of his international research. They talk about, it's not, I can't react to that today, right? It's not going to give me a signal today. It doesn't, but it can tell you that the forward returns from here are not going to be great. Doesn't do much for those of you that are only day traders. All right. But if you've got a 401k, you've got, pension, long-term accounts, then you might know that this might not be the greatest time to be putting large sums of new money with long-term expectations into the market. So
a couple of things here. First of all, CAPE ratio, cyclically adjusted price to earnings ratio, is what that actually stands for. And yeah, that's the whole thing with the day trading versus the long-term trading. I mean, the way to get this done is to really do both. And there are days where the day trading that I'm doing just isn't going well. And thankfully, I've got long-term stocks that I can hold that I feel good about. That's generally I get over bad day trading days. So I would advise that everybody, even if your thing is day trading, I'd look into having some type of long-term account. Tim, you gave me a stat the other day when we were off camera that I absolutely love. I'm going to try to do it from memory here, but if I butcher it, please save me. You had mentioned that if someone is a successful day trader, for every dollar they have in their day trading account, they have $10 in their long-term account.
Absolutely, right? I mean, day trading suffers from scale, right? Unless you're
Yeah.
unless you're Ken Griffin or Jim Simons or somebody like that. So most successful day traders are steadily taking the profits out of their day trading account and moving it over to their long-term account. So over time, that long-term account gets pretty big. So most successful day traders also have the long-term investment accounts, and they're feeding that one because they've got the same long-term goals everybody else does, right? College for their kids, new house, comfortable retirement, maybe an excessively comfortable retirement, whatever that goal or dream is. This day trading is a job because it is, and your job you take and you invest for the long term with the profits. So every really successful day trader I know, and qualify that remark, it's hard. Okay, you guys know that day trading's hard. So the wildly successful ones, the few that I know, both on and off the floor in the exchange, they've all treated it. It's a job, and profits are reinvested for the long term. So that's why I thought I'd share that with you. But now, the part about doing both feeds into our next study, and this is a study. What was this fellow's name? Hang on. We should give him his name because he deserves it. This is from a fellow by the name of P.G. Sutherland, and he wrote a study called The Complementary Dynamics of Mean Reversion and Trend Following. So you basically long-term trading, short-term trading. So here's how this shapes up, guys. Everybody likes to pick out a camp. You've got to be a trend follower or you've got to be a mean reversion guy. Well, you don't. Mean reversion is short-term trading. Right, it opened down, so you buy it, trade it as soon as it's back up to even on the day, something along those lines. So mean reversion, lots of trade, very, very high win rates in mean reversion trading done right. And believe it or not, it's actually fairly predictable because you're taking a lot of smaller gains continuously over very short time frames. Now, limitations. You get a tail event in the market, right? You know, you buy the dip on the day the dip goes boom, you've got a problem.
Yeah.
And it will hit every single mean revision trader who doesn't trade a fully hedged book. And if you're trading less than, I'm going to call it $5 million, you can't hedge off tail events. It'll kill you. Just the cost of it will eat up your profit. The other thing, of course, is you buy a mean reversion trade, Ryan, and it's down $1. You make the dollar back and you move on, and the stock goes on and gains $50 over the next few weeks. So cutting winners short kind of blows you out, and you can't use stops in mean reversion trading. You got to take what you get. If you get stopped, you stops, you'll get stopped out every single time. So
the only mean reversion trade I'm currently in is to the short side here on Walmart, and as you meant, it has been slapping me around. It's just not working here. So we'll see if we end up getting it. Anyway, sorry to interrupt.
That's okay. And then you have trend following, which trend following is like deep value investing, Ryan. Everybody talks about it, right? Everybody knows it works. Everybody's got a story about Ben Graham, and everybody's got a story about Warren Buffett. Everybody's got a story about Richard Dennis and Paul Tudor Jones. Now, you know what these two things have in common? Nobody actually uses them.
So they know the lessons. They just don't apply the lessons.
It's boring. Okay. Deep value and trend following. The other thing they share is that it's very, very boring. I see now somebody's asking me about the percent W indicator. That was actually the percent R. That's Larry Williams' percent R indicator. And Ryan, I'll have to get you a link on the research study.
Okay.
We looked at.
I'd be happy to share it. Diamond's here all the time. So if we don't do it here today, I'll make sure he gets it.
I'll have to go back and get a link. So anyway, what this study found is that the strengths of trend following are the weaknesses, weaknesses of mean reversion, and vice versa. So what's good about trend following is bad about mean reversion, and what's good about mean reversion is bad about trend following. So if you take this big happy sandwich and you smush it together, you get the best of both worlds, but you cut out, for instance, you're caught in a mean reversion trade that goes against you. The dip goes boom, your trend system's short. Okay, so both piles of money are going to earn higher long-term returns, but they're going to take different paths to get there. This works a lot like blending value and momentum together, which is another topic. So anyway, data is very compelling. So trend following, pretty straightforward. We are putting the trend following rankings as part of the new ranking system on Benzinga Edge. So we're going to take trend signals and we're going to break them down into red light, green light. Right, positive trend, negative trend, and we're going to do it across short, intermediate, and long-term trends. We're doing it for stocks initially. Once I get done whipping all these fellas into shape, we're going to have it for commodities, global markets, alternative assets. So you'll be able to pull the page up and go, good trend, bad trend, changing trend, and you'll be able to identify it instantly. So, but anyway, what I thought I'd do real quick this morning is first present, share some of my favorite mean reversion system. And this is a it's a pretty high win rate, in excess of 65%. It's just, I don't want to ever be caught owning garbage, right? Even in mean reversion, because if it's garbage and the report comes out that day that it is garbage, you're smoked. So these are companies that have really high Piotrowski F scores, right? We want 8s and 9s, the best of the best. Companies with great profits, great margins, generating cash flow, paying down debt, not issuing new stock, plenty of cash on hand, growing returns on assets and equity, the best of the best companies. Then we want to buy them when they have a 5-day RSI under 20. Okay, so we're getting into short-term overbought. So just here's some of the ones that meet that kind of setup right now. That's S&P Global, SPGI. Okay, and of course that's just the folks that give us S&P 500 and S&P Global Research and all that fun stuff. And then the next two are pretty interesting. And there may be a comment on the future of the economy in here. I'll let somebody else decide. But Waste Management, WM, and RSG. You see, WM has just sold off very sharply. In spite of this, Waste Management's a great business, has been a great business for a very long time, very high returns on the capital employed in the business. I mean, 35% return on equity.
And I mean, think about it. Think about Waste Management. Humans are garbage generating machines. That's what we are. We're not going to stop doing that. And guess what? We're making more of that.
Yeah.
This will be forever.
Right. And, a week from today, yes, I mean, this is the biggest garbage week of all time. And the recycle the week after New Year's Eve, that's a business right there with all the bottles and cans. So
there's going to be a few at my place too, Tim.
I'm counting on you, Ryan. I really am. But then another, right below that in the rankings is Republic Services, also in the trash business.
Sorry, what was the ticker? RVS?
Oh, no, RSG.
RSG, you told me. Sorry about that.
Right. So then you've got Schlumberger is in there, SLB, Oilfield Services, Fair Isaac, that's the credit scored company. Gartner made its way in there on this pullback. I'm just looking for some interesting ones. Toll Brothers is in there. Now, Toll Brothers is an interesting company, right? Because they have dominated the upper end of the luxury home market. Stock's been in a great uptrend. This is a fantastic business. Now, it's well known that we've got this big shortage of homes. Okay, there's just not enough houses out there for everybody. 60% of all mortgages are under 4%. So, those of us with one of those mortgages, we're not moving. Why would we move and take on a 7% mortgage? That makes no sense. So
that's the exact situation I find myself in. I'd love to move, but I'm not going to trade my 2.625. That would be fiscally irresponsible.
No, that's exactly right. That would be just crazy. So why would you do that?
Why would you do it?
Well, so there's a shortage of existing homes, which means that you've got to build them. Now, the shift that's coming, and we'll see how Toll Brothers does with this, but this thing now, Ryan, if you look at this is sitting on the 200-day moving average. So probably going to get going to get a pop up from this more than likely.
I'm sorry to interrupt you here, but it's hilarious that this is it. You have a couple of things that came here today that are really, really well timed. First of all, 5 minutes before you got here, I was discussing how Lennar is set to report earnings here tonight, another home builder. And we looked at several home builder charts, including Toll. And Toll here, I think there's a trade here. You're either going to break down from this 200-day and go towards that 500-day, or you're going to recapture this and go higher. It's probably not going to stay here. And so I actually am watching this for entry, either long or short, depending what we get. And then really quickly, just to kind of go back to waste management, this too just lost its 200-day. It looks like this wants to trade lower, maybe towards that 200 handle. This was another one that we brought up earlier this week. We were actually trying to set up an options trade for this, but the options market was just not as liquid as we wanted. So it's hilarious because you've come in with the exact same stocks with your own system here. Tells us we're looking in the right spot so far.
Right. And remember, in the case of the mean reversion trades, these are quick trades. So, like, waste management breaking under the 200-day. Your long-term trend is now down. So you're counter trend trading. You're looking for the quick pop and you're gone.
So look, possible swing trade here. Watch Toll here today, because again, I think if we close above 134.37, you're going to have the exact trade that Tim is giving you here. And real quick, just a quick mention here, 13, he must still be getting dressed here, but 13 is always giving us good information. You can get exposure to both waste management and RSG through IDU.
Okay.
Ticker IDU, which is the utilities ETF. Anyway, which has also been getting hammered, looks very similar to that. So, anyway, I'm sorry for digressing, Tim.
No, that's okay. So that's just some of the stocks, and it's just fundamentals. 5-day RSI at 20 or less, deeply oversold companies that are quality, great businesses. Right? They're not going to zero, thereby multiplying your odds that somebody comes in and takes a shot at this on the long side. So I just kind of wanted to throw that one out to you guys, make you aware of it. Because mean reversion trend following is simple. I am, believe it or not, a huge, massive advocate of trend following. I think that if I was a 25-year-old guy today, the only two things I would do with my money in this situation is deep value investing, way, way off of Wall Street's radar screen, and trend following.
Because the trend is your friend. Absolutely.
Right. Those are the two things, right? Less liquid, really small cap, deep value, and trend following. Those are the two things that AI cannot drive out of existence. Almost every other indicator and system is vulnerable to AI.
Okay.
So now that brings us to, because I'm eating up your time this morning, and I'm aware of it.
We're good.
I'm going to do it anyway, but I'm aware that I'm doing it. So,
and you picked a good day to do it because, frankly, the news flow is kind of on pause until the Fed here. So this is working out perfectly. What else?
All
you
right.
got?
Well, before I go to the bat, then I'm going to throw one out there that comes off of the Toll Brothers conversation. How Toll responds to the need for new single family homes for first time move up buyers. It's going to be very predictive of what kind of year they have in 2025, because that's where the demand is, but the margins are a lot lower than what they're used to on the big mega McMansions that Toll likes to build. Now, company that I'm going to throw out there to you guys, and you don't necessarily have to do anything with this today. It is in kind of a downtrend. It's still seeing some selling pressure, but it's a builder that builds in, where are they? They're California, the New York area, Boston, Jersey, Arizona, Florida, Texas. We call those the areas where the people are.
Yeah. I was going to say those all sound popular.
Yes. It's stock is trading below book value, penny on the dollar of sales, looking for monster earnings bumps next year. Lots of skin in the game because insiders own over 30%.
What was the ticker? Sorry,
I haven't given it to you yet.
Okay, no wonder.
You need to work on your patience, young man. No wonder you don't.
First time I've heard that.
No wonder you don't have a good Christmas shirt collection. You're too impatient to properly compile one. So,
well done.
$343 million company trading at a discount to book value. This is already a stock that Tim Melvin likes. Okay, I mean, and then throw in some skin in the game. And the name of the company is Land C Homes, LSEA. They primarily specialize in that lower end of the new home market. Now, they've just done an add-on offering, so that's kind of pushing the stock down a little bit.
Mhm.
Insiders did sell some stock in that offering because this, boys and girls, was a SPAC. Okay. This is one of those handful of companies that came public via a SPAC years ago that was actually a real business and have used the cash to build a meaningful business. The stock is weak because new home activity in the lower end of the market has been weak. That's going to change. When it does, this stock is going to be a monster.
Okay.
All right.
I like that. I like that a lot. I'm actually going to add this one to my watch list too, because when we talk about builders, I don't watch this one enough, and I need to change that. Thanks for the present, Tim.
No problem. Now here's your final present of the day, ladies and gentlemen. I don't care if you think banks are boring. I don't care if you think banks are the most evil thing that ever happened to the United States. And I know some of you believe that deeply. It's the very popular thing to believe. I don't care if you think all banks are going to collapse and just explode the empire. It doesn't matter. The truth of the matter is bank stocks are going to do really, really well under the Donald Trump administration. Okay. And I don't care if you love Trump or you hate the guy. Maybe you love Joe Biden. I don't know. But the truth of the matter is the Biden administration has been openly and aggressively hostile towards the banking industry. Now, ever since Reagan initially signed the first little piece of legislation that allowed interstate banking, and then 10 years later in 94, Clinton signed the one that poured gas on that and made interstate banking the reality of the day. Banking industry has been undergoing a consolidation period. During this period of time, especially since Clinton in 94 signed the Interstate Banking Act, about 4% of the banking industry has been merged out of existence each and every year. That was about 2% last year. Okay. The administration hated banking, and it hated M&A even more than it hated banking, if that's at all possible. Bank stocks are going to do really well. So what we're going to do is we're going to find some bank stocks that are pretty reasonably priced. Now we're going to look in that shareholder list, right? And we're going to find these reasonably priced, really good banks that have a private equity focused shareholder, a large shareholder in there that's been owning and actively buying the stock. I got a couple of these for you. I'm not saying they're going to get sold in 2025. I'm going to say that the guys pulling the strings on this that are the largest shareholders, they've got a stake in the bank and they want to see the bank sold. So you've got all the odds in your favor, basically.
Yeah, seems like it.
First off, this is one of my favorite bank stocks. I like this one. It was created out of turmoil. Bank of California has been around forever. They were in equipment leasing. They had just strong regional franchise in California. Then in the big banking crisis that really wasn't one back in 2024, they ended up merging with PacWest. PacWest was actually, they did a lot of tech lending and VC lending. So they got painted with the Silicon Valley Bank shares brush. Even though they had nowhere near the level of problems, the stock got hammered. They started to get deposit flows. So the FDIC kind of assisted Bank in California in buying what was left of PacWest. It's created the third largest bank in California. It's 95 branches now with 305 million of total deposits. And let me just go back here. Total assets of $33 billion. So right in that kind of that middle range. They are a dominant player now in California business-oriented banking. They've got some very cool lending franchises. They big players in the HOA market, which is a low cost, as in no cost deposits, but they also do a lot of borrowing, and it's consistent borrowing that gets paid back, very low risk. Then when you look at the rest of their loan portfolio, they do quite a bit of venture capital and lending, and you can lump almost almost $1 billion a year, 777 million last year. This is the coolest kind of lending ever, right? If you could do this lending with all of your money with a little bit of leverage forever, as they are doing, you would make just an enormous return on the capital involved. When a venture capital or private equity fund has a deal, okay, and they're like, all right, we're going to give these guys $1 billion to start up their company. They don't actually have the cash on hand. When venture capitals and private equity firms raise money, they get commitments. They're contractual commitments that say that when we call you, you're going to give us X dollars. So now they've cut the deal. They're going to give these guys $1 billion, but they have to they got to call everybody and have them send the capital in, and they've got either 30 or 60 days to send the cash in. In the meantime, the VC, the startup company, they want their money now. So what does the venture capital do? They call Bank of California. They say, guys, we need $1 billion, pay it back in 60 days. So negotiate the rates, the terms. There's never been a default on these loans, ever.
What was the ticker for this?
This is BANC.
BANC.
Right. So they've digested the merger. They've gotten rid of the businesses they're going to get rid of. They've strengthened the balance sheet. Very strong, solid loan portfolio. Great deposit franchise. From both sides of the bank and the merger. They bought key niche relationships in warehouse lending, real estate, different segments of the market. They do some student lending. So just really strong, powerful franchises within the bank. Now the stock is sitting here. It's trading at 12 times earnings and about 90% of book. It's worth right now today, with no takeover activity of size and importance happening, it's worth about 130% in book. So in a takeover right now is what would it take to get a deal done. As takeover activity picks up, that average multiple is going to go higher. So you could see this bank, easily, because the bank's going to be growing. So the amount of assets that they have is going to be growing, and the price tag on those assets is going to be going up. So you could see some really impressive long-term returns, because love California, hate California, kind of irrelevant. California as a standalone economy is the 5th largest in the world. Millions of people stayed, millions of people left, a few billion stayed. And there's still, the entertainment business, there's still the finance business, the VC business, aerospace is still big there. Defense is still an actual real economy that they have not been able to kill in spite of what appear to be their best efforts. So people still want to do business in California, and banks still want to be in that market. So then FRBA is First Bank in New Jersey. Clearly they are in the drone financing business.
well done.
That was First Bank in New Jersey. They've grown by acquisition. And again, all of these banks have a shareholder who is a bank, financial services, private equity firm that eventually is going to want this thing sold at a pretty big premium. So First Bank is in the beautiful downtown area of Hamilton, New Jersey. They've got 313 branches with about 3.7 billion in assets. This bank is of the size that is absolutely begging to be bought out. So I'm just kind of looking at the deposit map here.
It's about a 2% dividend to hold it too.
Yeah,
so
2% dividend, and just looking at the loans, mostly commercial real estate. Very few problems in the loan portfolio. Very high quality asset quality here. Your non-performing assets are a whopping 33/100%. Loans that are currently non-performing are less than 1/4%. They've got plenty of capital. Just kind of look at the ratios here. They got a 10.7 equity to asset ratio, which is easily above the threshold of 10 that we use, and it's been consistently at that level. When you break this back to a risk-based capital level, what the regulators look at, it's right up there at a very high level. So it's just a really good bank with a really good branch network in New Jersey, a state where there's gonna be activity and a lot of it. So that's that's kind of my two banks for you today. I
Okay.
I don't expect these banks to exist as standalone franchises when Donald Trump leaves office in 4 years. I think they will get taken over because they've got shareholders who are not going to go away quietly if you try to underpay them.
So you should get a pretty good premium
You're
then on
get
that. Okay.
that's where I was going
Let's
with
go.
that. You're gonna get a really good premium on these. In the meantime, they've got solid loan portfolios, plenty of capital, trading at cheap valuations. I can't control market risk, but your actual financial risk in these stocks is very low. There's a really really nice buffer, a margin of safety in the balance sheets and loan portfolio with both of these banks. So, drum roll, that's all the presents I've got for you guys this year. You're probably all ready to go back and listen to 13 and some other guys and talk about trading stocks and other stuff. So I'm done here, but I had a lot of Christmas stuff to get out, throw out there. And Ryan was not quick enough to shut me up before I kept running off at the mouth.
Yeah, I'm not. Look, when someone comes on here and gives out tips that are going to earn people money, I'm not going to shut them up. That's not how it works. We have plenty of time to get all of the stuff done. Tim, thanks very much for all of your insight and expertise. I really appreciate it. Have a great Christmas with your family, yes. But we're going to be back next year, and we're going to be still expecting gifts, even though Christmas is past.
Oh yeah, you will have some. I've got something planned for you guys to kick the year off with a bang. So we'll have that all ready and ready to go. Have a fantastic holiday. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, all of that as we talked last night. Hanukkah and Christmas Day, first day of Hanukkah and Christmas Day, same day this year for the first time in like 25, 30 years or something like that.
Yeah.
So enjoy, have a fantastic holiday, a great new year. Do not try to keep up with Ryan when it comes to alcohol consumption. Doesn't end well. But happy holidays, everybody. We'll talk to you next year.
Tim is an ace all the time. Tim, happy holidays. Take care. That is awesome. We're going to have a good Christmas season. There's no question about that. Tim's departure leaves room for 13. Let's go ahead and bring him on. 13, how are you doing here this morning, dude?
Oh, I'm just trying to keep the lions at bay here. Everybody's wanting to get to the movers, and I'm just like, guys, Tim's giving us some gold here. Let him keep handing it to us. It was great stuff from Tim. I love it when he comes on.
There's going to be, over the next 4 years, there's going to be many days where when we wake up, it's going to be all smiles all day because one of our holdings is going to be bought out at premium. You're either going to participate in that or you're not going to participate in that. We can lead a horse to water, but we cannot make the horse drink. Okay. I think that I know what you want to start with here today.
Do you?
I know what you want to start with here today. So I'm just going to leave it here on the big chart. Let's just talk about NUKK real quick. Obviously, this was the big mover yesterday. I know Lion Atlas was mentioning that this is going to go to 40. This is going to pull a drug and go to 40. And there was a period of time yesterday where it was like, maybe he's right, ? I don't know. This thing was an absolute monster yesterday. In the regular session, just humongous volume, traded up to about a 17.5 handle. We were higher here today, although we've pared back some of those gains here this morning. So definitely a relative volume play. What are you thinking here, NUKK?
Oh, I think that's exactly what we could get today is a relative volume play. You look at the daily chart and you see that it's been getting absolutely no volume for the majority of the time it's been trading. And then yesterday, all of a sudden, there's this huge spike in volume. So that is going to get a lot of attention and bring maybe some more retail traders into the fold. Should get some movement. I don't know about it going to 40. Maybe it does. We were calling it in happy hour all the way up when it was different levels as it was going up. So if it continues to do that today, that's what I'll be shouting out in happy hour as well. But got as high as 24.35 in the pre-market here. Has not seen that yet, and we are currently under VWAP. So it's going to need to find some support here, and I think it might be coming down to it right about at the $13 handle. Got a lot of consolidation between basically, we can say $12 and I guess 16, but it gets a little bit more concentrated between 13 and 15. So I would think that there's going to be some kind of demand buying in that concentration. And then also the 200 EMA on the 5-minute is right in that spot as well. So a couple of things that could provide some support here for NUKK that helps take it back up towards the $40 dollar level that we'd like to see. So that's what I'll be watching for as we get closer to the open, is a rebound and recapture of that VWAP. So, and I probably won't take any trades until I at least see that.
Yeah, I'm with you on this. This is definitely on my list here to trade, like you were mentioning, just because of the day yesterday, the huge range that it's carved out. I'll be honest. Excuse me, sorry about that. Lion, I know that you're calling for this to go to 40. I actually wouldn't be surprised if we really have like a big move up here fairly early in the day, and then it kind of reverses. So I would just be nimble on this one. This is definitely not one that I'm going to take home. If I do end up trading this here today, my intention will absolutely be to close that trade prior to the end of day. I don't really think there's anything that's going to change that outlook for me. So with you on that, really appreciate some of the levels there. I agree with you on 12. I actually think we might get some support at like 12.50, 13 first, but we'll see what happens when it comes in here. I will say the trend here this morning for a long side trade, this trend is going to have to change. I know we popped initially out of the open, but we've been giving those gains back all morning here, and we've stayed under the VWAP despite multiple attempts to get above it. So we'll see here on NUKK, no position. This was the big one of the day yesterday, and it is definitely going to be in play here today. Okay, you ready to hit some more of the movers here today?
Yeah,
want to run through the list? Yeah.
Really quick though, did anybody manage to catch the other mover we had talked about yesterday, which was PRTG? It was looking pretty bad, like it wasn't going to be doing anything, and then all of a sudden, once we got down to support level, about $6, I believe, turned around and ripped right through VWAP and went and ended up being a 2x, a little bit more than a 2x. Went to 12.89, so that was a really big turnaround. Hope some y'all caught it, but it's one of the reasons why we look at these movers every day. This didn't provide any good trades out of the gate.
Yeah, absolutely. Peak to trough here, this thing was a double, and it was, again, I mean, it's really all the same thing. A lot of these moves are very, very similar. It was all about the volume here and PRTG. When we saw this out of the open, I even still have the trend line on from yesterday. I know we broke that trend. We traded above VWAP. That was actually a head fake that sent the stock lower on that. The $6 support really didn't jump off the page, at least on the intraday chart at all yesterday. But really, once the volume started to creep in here, and it started with this first reversal candle that capped at 11:30. Actually, I believe this is going to be 12:30. Nope, excuse me, 11:30. The reversal candle here at 11:30. We actually, on this 5-minute chart, we actually found some resistance at that 65 EMA. And when we took that out, man, the floodgates poured open. All of that volume really taking us up to the high print here. Just a massive, massive run. And the entire story was told by the volume. We were looking at this. We didn't necessarily have support levels drawn out there at 6. We obviously, like I talked about, we had the trend there that broke, but really, really good stuff. I did not catch this one. I was trading Nuke yesterday at NUK, NUKK, whatever you want to call it. I was trading that one here today, but maybe we get some more. Okay, I'm going to run through. Then look, PRTG, not a whole lot of volume, but it is trading up here this morning. We'll see what happens when the market opens. You want to watch that volume?
It could be a relative volume play too, I believe.
Absolutely. After yesterday's volume, well, 100%.
I mean, well, it has to be the only time it ran. If it ran like 2 days ago, then it might already have been a relative volume play. But yeah, there's a volume spike out of nowhere after not having one for a couple of months. So probably a relative volume play today. There could be some decent liquidity for some trading, but if your expectation is to have this thing run high into the teens, I think you might want to temper that. I don't know that we're going to see that here with this one.
Yeah, and if you take a look at the daily chart, every time we have these big volume pops, the next day it does seem to come in, with the exception here of this August move. But anyway, we'll see. Real good stuff here on yesterday's movers. Let's go ahead and start with today's movers.
Yeah.
And we'll see what we can end up making out of the session here today. First one that I have on the list here is ticker PLRZ. This is PolyRizen. This is not a stock that I am familiar with. I don't think I've ever traded this company here. PolyRizen share. Say again.
There's a reason for that.
Okay, so it's new. PolyRizen shares are trading higher after the company announced it secured a GMP partnership with Eurofins CDO. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that drug. It's basically a nasal gel company, and they're moving forward with an expected 2025 clinical trial. and they entered a manufacturing agreement. So this stock popping here, market's rewarding this plus 163.8%. We did spike above 4. We've come back here, but we've been kind of flirting with this VWAP here. I would actually expect us to trade above the VWAP. Does that give us a trade? That's what we're going to look for here. PLRZ, you want me to go around the horn, or you want to just take it from here?
Real quick with this one,
Yeah.
no read on the income. It's moving on the manufacturing partnership, just under 4 million shares in the float. The reason for all this lack of data on this is because this is a new IPO. They came out with this back on October 29th. So almost no moving averages. I have a 20 here. We have VWAP at least, but there's not a whole lot to draw upon as far as levels go. So I really have no idea what we are going to end up getting out of this. Could be we just need to break out the fibs and see what that gives us, or just watch and see if it trades beneath or above VWAP. Right now, it is beneath VWAP. So what I'd like to see is a recapture of that. And also, it seems that the 65 EMA has been providing resistance in the pre-market as well. So at least we have those couple of indicators to tell us where this is possibly going to get support and where it needs to go. Really does need to get back above VWAP. You can see that ever since it lost that indicator, that it has been having a hard time getting back above it. So that's going to be something to watch for with PLRZ. Get back above that VWAP, and we could probably end up making another try for that $4 breakout.
Okay, yeah, I got the channel that we're in here, really 250 to 350. Mm-hmm. I mean, honestly, I know we've kind of recently broken. Yeah, 250 to 350. We'll see what happens when we break out of the channel. The volume has told the story so far in this one. Let's see if we get another huge volume pop today. That would be sick. All right, I'm going to keep moving on here. Next one I've got is CGTX, and this is actually some pretty sweet trading action here today on this one. Cognition Therapeutics shares are trading higher after the company announced the top-line results, which met its primary endpoint of safety and tolerability from its exploratory phase 2 Shimmer study. So phase 2 data here meeting the primary endpoint plus 146%. CGTX. As mentioned here, it looks like the high that we've put in here was 127. That 125 area really kind of looks like resistance. But like I said, the formation here on the 1 minute looking pretty good. Looks really good on the 5 minute as well, as we've stayed above the VWAP here, which is currently at 97 cents. I definitely want to watch the $1 level anytime we have these really low price stocks, especially ones that went from penny territory to dollar territory. Their ability to hold on to that dollar price tag is going to be important. So far, that's what we're doing here. Let me take a look at some of the other stats here for you, 13. What do you got on this one? You know what? I think I'm not getting the short interest reporting correctly. Hang on a sec.
Yeah, so top line results for their phase 2 trial of their Alzheimer's drug. But I also decided to take a look at that to see if there's anything else going on with that particular drug. They have 2 other phase 2 trials that they are currently recruiting for. So this is not the only phase 2 trial that they have going on for this particular drug they have going, that they're manufacturing, or testing at least. So there's some future catalysts here with CGTX. And it's going to be likely in the form of they've met the requirements for the phase 2 trial that they're recruiting for. There's 2 of them, so they have enough cash for, it looks like, about 2 quarters. Think that at some point, maybe not today, but down the line, they're going to likely have to raise 29 million shares in the float, so a little bit thicker than we want, but still small enough that it should move pretty nicely. I was just going to mention that we could draw a trend line here and watch for a breakout, but it looks like we're about to get that right now. So a little bit late to the description here on that one, but that would be what I'd be watching for on CGTX is a break of this downtrend, literally a breakout of that what looks like a bull pennant at this point. And
it's literally trying that as we're talking right now. So looking pretty good on that call.
And the MACD is starting to curl, so it's looking like this is trying to shape up and to break over this trend line and go up to 127. I don't have levels outlined with this yet, but if we continue this breakout, it might get up to maybe 160. That would be my guess at this stage.
Okay, good stuff there. CGTX. I'm going to keep moving here because we do have a pretty crowded list. Yeah.
Crimp Biscuit was asking what was the float for PLRZ. I have 3.92 million shares.
Yep. Thought I put that on screen there. Sorry about that, Crimp. 3.92 is exactly right. Okay, let's keep moving through the list here. Next, I have VSTE. This was doing really good earlier, but it's really kind of lost some of the gains here. No news on this one. This is a renewable energy company specialized in the design and manufacturing of concentrated solar thermal power. It was trading as high as 4. Yep, don't really have anything here. We did have an active stake form after hours on Monday. Not sure that's really what's driving it here today. Again, did pop a little bit in the after hours yesterday, popped again here in the pre-market, but we've really retraced a lot of those gains here, and we're currently beneath the VWAP. So came back into a support level here around 250. What do you got on VSTE? Maybe you don't have anything here because there was no news on this one.
Well, yeah, there was no news. It could be continuing to get a lift from that active stake. But when I looked at the daily chart, I thought to myself, well, it hasn't really been beaten up to the point where it's a low RSI play, but where the price did come down to, and it's also when you combine the active stake, it looks like right about that 120 level, it was kind of falling into a demand zone from price action back in October and basically from August to October. So I think the fact that it fell into that demand zone may have spurred buying. I can't say with any certainty that that's what happened, but that's what it looks like. It sort of happened there. Is it just came down to this consolidation area from we found from October to August, and that just was where traders, investors started buying. Now, also they IPO'd a year ago. I don't have any read on their income, and they have 2 million shares in the float. But I think one thing that was interesting about this is if you look at the daily chart, and you go back to when they IPO'd a year ago, which was literally back in December, about this time. It's like December 19th.
The first day is December 19th.
Yeah. So you draw a trend line from there through the high of March this year, through the high of November or October this year, whatever that was. And that's a potential level or even a breakout trend of the trend that you could see the price get up to. I don't know about today, but maybe if it's illiquid and gappy enough, spready enough, maybe it gets up there. I wouldn't, hang my hat on it, but this kind of give you an idea of where this potentially could go if it starts trading stupidly.
Stranger things have happened before, so we might as well just leave the trend line on there. Really good stuff here with VSTE. 2.082 million shares in the float. Small short interest here, 11.37, but 1 day to cover, so I'm not sure about that. Let's see if we can get above the VWAP here. $2.95 and $3 definitely going to be some key levels here. Okay, I'm going to keep moving on here. Next is going to be ABAT. This is ABAT, American Battery Technology. Stock also trading up here. American Battery Technology shares are trading higher after the company announced it received a contracted grant award for $144 million in federal investment by the U.S. Department of Energy to support the construction of new lithium-ion battery recycling facility. Okay, that is a mouthful. Totally understand the need for that. This is popping here. We're above the VWAP. This has kind of been back and forth all day here today. This would, to me, at least the price action here is saying this is definitely one you want to add on dips. Here we go. Looks like we're trying to break out from 130 as we speak. About 10% of the float shorted and about 10 days to cover. This is not a very popular name. On average, trades under 1 million shares. Obviously, we've done over 9.5 million here today, and that's likely to keep increasing. So what's going on here with this stock? You got anything on this one? ABAT?
So I didn't cover this one, but I think it's interesting that it's getting a grant for federal investment from the Department of Energy. I don't know if you recall, but I want to say it was maybe a couple of weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, I had brought up, and I think it was in Happy Hour, I brought up this idea that we might be seeing a lot of these federal dollars that have been set aside from like the Infrastructure Act or some of these other, major funding projects that the Biden administration has, been pushing. I think we were going to see a lot of those funds get pushed out, especially the Title 18 ones, before this administration's over. So this would kind of go in line with that theory. So this is, maybe if this doesn't give us any trades, at the very least, this is interesting enough for me to go and look and see if there's any other potential stocks that might be getting some of this additional funding, because they're not done handing that stuff out yet. There's still billions to dish out, and there could be a push to get as much of it out as possible before Biden's out of office.
Okay. I do remember you saying that. We'll see if we get anything. We're running out of time here. He's got less than a month till that happens. Okay. I think that we've covered PRZO. Oh, no, we covered PLRZ. PRZO, this is Parazero Technologies. This is one of the drone plays that has recently been moving. You can see we traded up in the after hours yesterday. No fresh news here today. This was a recent NASDAQ compliance regain. This morning, we're under the VWAP really until that changes here. Yeah, I'm just going to kind of wait this one out. We'll see if we do get above the VWAP, and then we'll reassess. But PRZO, this is another mover that's on the list here today. Again, 7.8% of the float shorted here, just 1 day to cover. Can't remember the financial situation that we're in here. They have a little bit of cash, and I don't have a read on their cash flow. I'd imagine that would need to get taken care of. No, nothing on the insider transactions. You got anything on this one, 13?
Well,
just the drone theme.
Yeah, I don't think I looked at this one except for the daily chart and noticed that we could draw another trend line to break if you want to do that. So you got the December 2nd high, draw it through the December 6th high, and draw it through today or yesterday. If you just go on a daily chart, that's the trend to break.
Yeah, so you're talking about this one right here, this high from October of 2023, or just.
No, just
right here. This
just
December 2nd. Gotcha.
All the price action here. Yep.
Yeah, you're talking a recent trend line here. Okay, there we go. We'll see if we end up getting that broken down. Good stuff. Good stuff there. Okay, we already talked a lot about NUKK. Where are we at here with this, by the way? Okay, so this came back to VWAP. Let's see if we get above it there, about 60 cents away from VWAP. Another mover here is going to be WIMI. This is WIMI. I know we've traded this one here before. WIMI hologram cloud shares are trading higher after the company announced its R&D team developed an FPGA-based digital quantum computer verification technology. A lot of buzzwords in there. The quantum theme obviously being evoked here. I feel like we've traded this one before. Didn't have great luck on this in the past. Yeah. So this is no stranger to spiking, likes to give up those gains. So just remember, if you have gains in this, be sure to take them here today. I'm going to do a quick look around the horn here. Negligible short interest at 1% in 3 days to cover there. Don't have a read on the cash flow. They definitely have cash on hand though. And a float here of 67 million. So a little bit thicker than we like. You got anything on this one, 13?
No, I didn't. The three that I covered were the three I talked the most about.
Yep. Okay. Works for me. You have limited time in the morning. That's just how it goes. I am going to keep mentioning a couple of the names off this list here, just so that we're all aware of what's going on. The next one here is going to be VRAR. This is actually looks like this is up 22% here. The Glimpse Group issued a 2024 year-end shareholder letter highlighting spatial core market traction and expected profitability. It looks like the stock's reacting here, up 22%. Looks like it eyes fiscal year 25 revenue of 11 to 12 million versus 12 million estimate. Sorry, what was that?
To yesterday's news?
This is this is the most recent news that we have here, and it looks like it's just kind of continuing here today.
Okay.
Not fresh. And I mean, I know that we had a little bit more volume yesterday. There's a couple of like these big volume spikes in here, but I'm not sure that that's going to be good enough to call it relative volume.
Yeah, this could get up to its 500-day SMA and then maybe turn around. It's very extended right now. 77.5 RSI.
And it's at a resistance area.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know how much trading we'll get out of this, but it could be good later on once it cools off.
RR is going to be another one. We talked about this one yesterday. This is Rich Tech Robotics. This has moved with Serve. This moved really nicely out of the open yesterday. See if we have anything here today. No fresh news, not even for that move yesterday. So we'll see what happens here with RR.
There's, sorry to interrupt you though, but CGTX did the thing.
Okay, so it did break out of that little formation. Look at that. That was the trend line that it was testing right as we were talking about it. Higher we go here. Looks like this stopped at what, 134? Okay.
Yeah, right about there, 130. It's kind of putting in a tweezer top, so I don't know. That's not what you want to see. But if we do back test that trend line and move up off of it, then that would be okay. But you don't want to see these candles look similar. And so far, this downside candle is looking just like the one before it. This needs to go a little bit further down. You don't want to see that. It indicates reversal. Look at what happened with the same thing when you back in at 8 a.m. to 8:05. Those two candles could be the same thing we're seeing right now. So this be careful with CGTX. This thing is also very thin.
Okay. Good stuff there. Really quickly, Mob X, someone mentioned this earlier in the chat. I'm sorry, maybe it was Izzy. I can't remember who it was. Sorry if I'm misquoting you. This did spike earlier on volume. Looks like we've got earnings tomorrow after the market closes. Mobix Labs, did we have anything here today? They just announced that this was last Wednesday. So no fresh news here on MOBX. Looks like this is just kind of moving ahead of the earnings. Don't really see a whole lot going on with this one either. Really quickly, I did want to mention OKLO and QUBT. So we're going to start here with OKLO because this does have news here today. OKLO shares are trading higher after the company and Switch signed a non-binding master power agreement to deploy 12 gigawatts of Oklo Aurora powerhouse projects through 2044. Again, just keep an eye on the time horizon for some of these. We've talked a lot about these. Stock is up here today, but this is a long way out.
NUKK is currently fighting against its VWAP, trying to push over it. There might be something happening here. Keep an eye on it if you're still trading NUKK.
Yeah, and I have my trading view VWAP here at 1761, but my VWAP in the prop account here had that at 1685, it looks like. 1670, and we were above that, just like you said there. So, okay, NUKK. Lion saying it's trying to go nuclear. We'll see how that ends up going here today. All right, I'm going to flip over to the main workspace. That's pretty much it. We can take a look here at QUBT, which is another one that you folks were asking about.
I also started moving a little bit.
This has been moving quite a bit recently. Quantum computing shares are trading higher, possibly on continued strength after the company on Tuesday announced it was awarded a prime contract by NASA to apply Dirac-3 for imaging and data processing support. So here you go. QUBT, this is really struggling with the $20 level, or at least trying to get through that $20 level. We'll see if we can end up doing that. Stock, just absolutely huge run here. All of these quantum names look very, very similar. IONQ, namely, another one. But that's what's going on here. QUBT, this is likely going to be in play here today. All right, let's see. Jay Harris wants some Tesla levels. Let's go back here to my bigger chart. How much time do we have here?
4 minutes.
Yeah,
maybe 3.
3 minutes. 3 minutes here. We got plenty. You know what, 13? That's plenty of time for us to give some Tesla levels. So I'm going to start here with, obviously, the stock's going vertical right now. So this is one of the reasons why I'm sure you're asking. We're going to start here with the daily chart. We're going to work our way down on some of these time frames. The one that I've got here is going to be 520. And I know that this kind of sounded like a joke when we first started talking about it, but yesterday we actually had a price target increase to 515. So it's pretty much right there. Was that Morgan Stanley? I can't remember what that firm was. That was also an upgrade there. Excuse me, Mizuho upgrades to outperform. They were just playing catch up. Like CT's question earlier, man, they had a 280 price target here on Tesla for the longest time. Now they're playing catch up here. Like he said earlier, not really admitting they're wrong. Anyway, 520 going to be one of your crazy upside targets if we get there. Let me reset this so that we can actually see what we're doing. If we look inside here, there are definitely a couple of levels to take a look at. Number one is going to be this intraday low. Got that at about 557 and a half ish, really right in there. If we breach that, I can easily see us trading down to 440. And then also the intraday high from yesterday, have that at 484, but realistically, this 482 and a half, there might be a resistance area up there. So we'll see if we can get above that. Those would be the two levels that I'm kind of watching here today on Tesla. And then as far as the actual pre-market here, I really, I think if we break 464, the 460 area is definitely coming here. And on the upside, if we break this 473, I think we probably try some of those highs from yesterday. Did you have any key levels you wanted to give on Tesla here, 13?
Well, if I say what level it is, we might get wisdom to appear, but it seems to me like 420 is the level to watch for. I don't like the way that yesterday's price action resulted. I know I've been saying that I think Tesla needs to come back in. There's other folks that are on the other side of that, which is fine. But I think that yesterday's candle, that hanging man does not look great. And that's an indication that reversal is coming. RSI is very extended. I'm not interested in Tesla directly. I do, have it through ETFs, but I'm not going to hold or trade this directly at this stage right now. I feel like I'd be trying to buy the top.
Mhm.
So I would personally I would wait for this to come in before I would pick some up. 420 looks like a good potential bounce spot. And if not there, then maybe the 20-day SMA at 384. But I don't know that we'll get down that far. I would be looking at 420.
Yeah, with you on that, and I definitely think the next big move here is probably going to be to the downside. Now we'll watch it here because we might have some day trading opportunities prior to that bigger move. Okay, we are 7 seconds until we open. I'm flipping over to the main workspace. Good luck, everybody.
NUKK is not waiting. That is broken out over VWAP, and it is going.
There you go. Let's see how this goes here today.
It's going. It's trying to anyway. It's getting a lot of back and forth right now. Let's see what these other ones are doing while that has its fun. So there is the thing with CGTX where it came right back into that trend line. Now we need to see it move away from the trend line after it tested it. So that back test complete. Need to see this upside in CGTX now.
Okay, one scalp done on NUKK right out of the open there. Thanks for covering for me while I was able to focus on that. It's probably, now that I'm out of it though, it's probably going to rip like crazy. So I'm going to be looking for some more entry. Just wanted to get some green on the screen there early.
Yeah, go through 19 now.
1922, little bit of size there that got absolutely smacked and deleted.
Pre-market high 24.35.
Continuing to push here. You're welcome, folks. All I had to do was sell it. Let's see what we do here at 20. Remember, what did we do? Okay, it was 24. It was the pre-market high here.
Yep, 24.35. It's on its way there now. Also, while we're watching that thing do its craziness, Bitcoin also looked like it was kind of topping out yesterday as well. That lowered this morning. Sorry, Lion. If Bitcoin also comes back down, then I expect Tesla will too, because they are such a large holder of Bitcoin.
So here is your Bitcoin daily chart. You're talking about these wicks and kind of that doji formation.
That reversal candle, yeah. So they've both run quite a bit. I just was expecting the cool off. Maybe they will, maybe they won't, but that's what I would expect.
Okay.
And Nuke going nuclear, looking for 21 now.
Indeed. Here we go.
First 2 minutes, and it's already moved dollars.
This would be a halt level, wouldn't it?
It's gonna
21, 24.
It's trying to right now.
Or 21.14, excuse me. Yep, halted. There it is. So they did end up holding it there. Really good stuff. 1 for 1 on Nuke so far here today. All right, we'll wait for that to unhalt. MOBX, this is another one that you folks mentioned here today. This climbing back to VWAP. We want to see this get above VWAP. Unsure if it has yet. And actually, let's check Tesla real quick. I know we just talked about levels there now that we opened. So we're right at VWAP here on Tesla. Yep, right about there at VWAP.
Oh, Soundhound's going to break 20. Oh, boy. There's another one that's it's been very extended as well. Looks like the PRZO is also trying to push up through some of this pre-market price action. Let's see what else. PLRZ, waiting for that one to turn around. Might be trying to do that, but let's wait and see what it does.
Okay.
What else?
We're getting a call here that Palantir is ripping. Take a look at that here. Palantir, nice little spike out of the open here. This took us back to where we were at on Monday? Yeah, that looks about right. Those Monday highs were about $78 there on Palantir.
Yeah, I don't know what. I mean, it looks like it could try and get back up to the 80. What is this? The 80.91 high that it made on the 9th. Going to need some good volume for that, though. Could get it, but I don't know that everybody's going to be rushing to pick this up here, for a longer hold.
Yeah, I mean, I'm ready for a pullback here on Palantir, but with all this drone craziness stuff going on, we got a Joe Lonsdale interview coming on Sean Ryan here pretty soon. That's going to be an absolute banger. It's going to be about Palantir, so got a lot of stuff happening with Palantir.
And CGTX is really trying to push into those highs that we made in pre-market. So we are coming off away from that trend line. That's what we want to see. Now we want to see it take out those pre-market highs and go for, let's see where, maybe, oh yeah, that was the 160 level I was talking about. So looking for 160 in CGTX.
Okay. VSTE continuing to trade down. Para Zero, this is trying to close its distance to the VWAP. PLRZ, you guys are calling that halted here? Okay, halted at 308 above the VWAP on PLRZ. Good stuff there.
Yep. That's what you wanted to see with this one. This was having the hard time getting above VWAP in pre-market once it lost it. So that's good. CGTX coming back in. Let's see, what's the next one that's going to move now?
Nuke still halted. By the way, it sounds like you and Lion might be having a little bit of a duel here today as Tesla is resuming to trade to the lows there. So take that, Lion.
Oh, gosh, you guys.
Tesla's trying for 464 again. It's trying to hold it here. We'll see if we bounce on Tesla. All right. How are we looking across the way here? Pretty good.
Yep. So far, PRZO holding above its VWAP N65 EMA. Would like to see it take the next leg up over 250. There's still some considerable, supply areas above 250 on the way up to its pre-market high of 337. But just wait and see if we get that. Maybe while these others are suspended or halted, it'll get more attention.
Archer, good mention here. AJ Archer here ripping right out of the open here. 950 cross there over yesterday's pre-market high on ACHR. We'll see if this can get double digits here pretty soon.
Yeah, that it's got to cross that SPAC level, which is $10. Looks like CGTX still trying to go again. Popped over VWAP, lost it, and now it's trying to get back over it again.
Okay. LITM's trying to bounce. We'll see if it reclaims VWAP there. EOSE, this ripped out of the open here at 450. QBTS, this is popping here. I also had QUBT. I think that was struggling with that $20 level. Let's take a look here.
Yeah, Tesla will bounce back, absolutely. But it's just very extended.
Yeah, here we go on QUBT. This under 20. This is trying to get through 20. Watch that as a potential level here on QUBT. Struggling with it so far. TNXP, this is one of the penny stocks you folks were talking about here this morning. Lower we go. I think the other one was TCBP. Am I getting these correct? Yeah, TCBP. This was the other penny stock. Right. This came all the way back and is actually taking the next leg lower here now.
Oh, my goodness.
NUKK is open.
Yeah. Remember when I said VSAT could be one of the next space stocks to go?
Yep.
Got news this morning. It's not the news I'm looking for. I'm looking for like a more of a fixed launch date because they have one coming up in the first half next year. But they got news about delivering network capability support of in support of the Replicator initiative. Not sure what the Replicator initiative exactly is, but it's moving off that news right now. And it's starting to get going. So we might be seeing some early movement in this VSAT.
VSAT here, remember, almost 100 million in the float. So it is going to move a little bit slower than some of those other ones that we take a look at.
Yeah. So we'll see what comes out of that.
You guys are mentioning that Nuke is halted again. NUKK. This should be, halt to the downside. So we had a nice little push there. Now a halt to the downside. Just be careful with this. You got multiple halts. It's kind of all over the place. Careful, careful, careful.
And here goes PRZO. It's looking good. It was lovely. CGTX. Is this going to go yet? This one seems to be having a little bit of a hard time going, but it's trying to hold VWAP. So we'll see what we get out of that.
Here is your CGTX.
Kind of looking around here, seeing what else is doing stuff.
Yeah, I'm still kind of looking around too, getting stuff set up here as well.
PRZO is looks like it has a little bit of a wall at 260 to get through, so might see some resistance there if we don't get the volume to push through it. So, like we always say, volume is going to be the thing that's going to get to some of these levels.
Yeah.
Volume. Don't forget it. CGTX still waiting to see if we get this push up to the pre-market highs, 132. Kind of hanging out at 125 right now. All right, what else are we looking at here, folks?
I'm kind of just watching the scanner, seeing how things shape up here. RR continuing to trade up here. I guess we could check in on Tesla again as well. It's like
PLRZ.
Tesla did kind of hold that 461 area. Sorry, which one? PLRZ?
Yep, that's open, going higher.
330 here on PLRZ. There you go.
Oh, I was going to look at
SkyT.
I was going to look at FGL. Let's see what's going on with that one.
SkyT, this is Skywater Technology. This is what is this stock here? Okay. Semiconductor development and manufacturing services from its fabs. Okay.
So FGL, this thing like trades less than 1,000 shares every 5 minutes. All of a sudden, it gets over 500,000 shares traded. Not seeing news on this. There's news from yesterday and from last week as well. This is, what is this, a solar? We must have traded this one before.
I feel like we have FGL. Maybe it was TGL. I do feel like we've traded this one here before.
Had drone news?
Solar news here, or solar company
Oh,
here.
Yeah, that was from Wednesday the 11th, where it was using AI-powered unmanned aerial vehicles for solar farm inspections. This is the one that was doing the inspections of. Yeah, I remember this one now. Okay, thank you, Jonathan. That was helpful for reminding me. So I don't remember exactly how this traded that day last week when we got this news, but I think that will give you some clues as to what could happen out of this one. Let's see here.
QUBT, that ripped about right above 20. Look at that $20 level. As soon as we took that out, 2 points higher here, 22. Looks like it stopped at there.
Nice. RGTI is also getting mentioned.
Rigetti, that's also one in that same theme. Looks like 12 is stopping that one here.
PRZO continues to push up, but we're kind of putting in some good size wicks on the top of these candles. Hopefully that's not going to indicate that there's some downside coming. We'll have to be careful with that.
MOBX, that's still waiting to go through its VWAP there. TCBP continuing to break down. PLRZ, really the only one that's working here.
PLRZ, that one looks like it's really trying to get after that $4 level. Yeah, PRZO, those upper shadows are not looking great.
The SkyT that got, sorry to interrupt you here, SkyT that got mentioned by Conga, this looks like it's trying to flag up here. We'll see if that holds.
Yeah, PRZO, be careful with that one. I don't like the way those wicks are looking. But PLRZ, we're totally not trying to confuse you.
I know it's hard, man. It's hard to follow along with oh my God, it's hard for me to effing talk. Hard for me to follow along with the tickers that you are suggesting. Whew. Sorry about that. Cat got my tongue right there. Guys, NUKK looks like this is open again. I was trying to mention earlier, I know we're all excited from the huge move yesterday, but be careful with this. Nasty pull after that halt to the upside. Guarantee that this is just creaming people. Guaranteed. Be very, very careful with this name.
NVIDIA having a good morning. Got a rebound yesterday. Now it's back above what I would consider to be the trend line. I'm sorry, the neckline. If it gets past 137, it could erase this bear flag. I'm sorry, this bearish head and shoulders. But it's got a ways to go. Let's see what happens. But so far, looking pretty good here, NVIDIA. Nuke.
Here you go, Tesla. That area held here. Watch this VWAP. We're almost there, about $1 away from the VWAP. Let's see if we can cross and move higher here on Tesla. Lion, you got it. Just had to wait that one out.
Well, look at Bitcoin. I think that's why it's turning around. I mean,
Bitcoin
I think,
bounced a little bit this morning. Yep.
Yeah, I think if you just watch Bitcoin, a lot of these names that are associated with that, especially MSTR and MAR and all them, they're going to follow Bitcoin. They're going to do what Bitcoin tells them to do.
How's MSTR doing today?
probably reversing now.
It is 2 points up off the low here. This was lower. Bitcoin, this is so far so good. This following Bitcoin's still down 2% here on the futures chart.
Yep, but they're following Bitcoin's orders, marching orders. So there you go.
And UKK trying to bounce. Don't be sucked in though. Be careful. PLRZ above the pre-market high here. Is this halted?
Yep. Not yet.
Okay, no, it's still moving around. Yep, you're right. Tesla, what a reversal on Tesla. That is going higher here, Lion.
Like I said about PLRZ, no idea where this goes. This is the one that IPO'd back in October, late October. No idea where this ends up. Could be anything.
Jay mentioning, did you know Nuke went from a penny to 40 cents in a day? Yeah, that sounds about right. Given what we saw yesterday, I would imagine that that's exactly right.
CGTX.
Now it's $20. I mean, good Lord.
CGTX has not had a good day with its VWAP out the gate. Well, every time it's tried to close above VWAP, it has been rejected. And now we're losing the trend line and probably going lower. I would think maybe, we're already under $1 now. We're probably going to halt. Yep, we're halted. That was ugly with CGTX. Maybe it's probably ends up going down to the 80-cent level would be my next guess. It's halted now, so we'll have to wait.
Okay, nasty pull there in CJ. Glad I didn't trade that one here. NUKK, this is trying to go back up. It did just reclaim the VWAP still, though. Be careful on that one. TCBP still staying lower here.
We might get a lot of sideways action today until the Fed makes their decision.
Yep. QUBT looking like this is going to try and push higher here. QUBT.
Sound getting a mention as well. VFS is ripping. Take a look at that.
I don't have it on my scanner here, which I would have thought I would have had VFS. That was really moving here. Let me bring it up.
I don't see it ripping. I mean, it's making some upside moves, but at very low volume.
Yeah, I don't really think that this is ripping here.
No, it's not.
You guys were mentioning Archer, ACHR. That is ripping here. That above 10 now.
That's what a rip looks like. AEHR also might get going here too. It's had some pretty good price action this morning. Needs some more volume, but the setup isn't too bad. Needs to hold VWAP as well. And UKK is still having a hard time staying above VWAP.
AEHR, we're right at this trend line here. We're actually battling this trend line that you had me add yesterday. We popped above it. Looks like we're trying to get back above it here again.
QUBT, this thing is just gone. That trend line, I mean, I don't know. I don't think I had you draw one this morning, but there was a trend to break and it just blasted right through it.
OKLO taking the next leg higher here. Looks like that dipped a little bit right out of the open, and now that is ripping here. OKLO, good stuff on this move higher on that news.
QUBT is going to 25.
QUBT to 25.
Mm-hmm. That was the almost. Let's see. That was the Christmas Eve special in 2020 for QUBT. So if you want to bring up a longer term chart, you can see what I'm referring to there.
Right here?
Mm-hmm. Christmas Eve special.
You think we're going back there for just to kind of repeat? They had so much fun at Christmas, they're going to do it again, it sounds like.
Wouldn't be a Christmas Eve special.
There we go. Here we go, 23.25. This is continuing to push here. Man, these are absolutely crazy.
Speaking of continuing to push, PLRZ went up to 480 before it reversed. Maybe sell into the strength for PLRZ if you're trading this, because like I keep saying, I have no idea where this ends up. There's no indications or price action or anything where we're at, right now. It's just blue sky territory, price discovery territory. So it can do whatever it wants from here, and including hurt a lot of people. So don't be one of those people that gets hurt.
Okay, good stuff there. QUBT continuing. What did you say? 24 or 25?
25. 25.
Okay. It was continuing on its way to 24 right there. right there. NUKK, this is starting to appear on the sky. We crossed back above VWAP on NUKK. Are we getting this rolling here?
I don't like the way that 1 minute chart looks, but that's just me. That looks bearish.
Okay. 5 minute, and you're right about it being on the 1 minute because the 5 minute actually still looks pretty good here. Well, this still might go higher.
Yeah, it might. We will see. All right, so other stocks that we've been talking about. Okay, so PLRZ coming back in a little bit here, but could still make some more moves. PRZO, that's beneath its VWAP, or it might be up at least. What else here?
Still watching the quantum names. These are some of the best names out of the open here. Your QUBT. I'm going to be pissed if this goes directly to 25 and I didn't take it 13, honestly. I am. I'm just letting you know now. Bonjour, Smoke Tuna. It's great to see you here this morning. Thanks for joining us.
It's just silly.
It is silly. It is silly. That's a good way to put it. It's silly.
It's that's why I'm laughing.
Smoke Tuna saying NUKK looking bullish here. I'll tell you what, this definitely needs a pop above $20 here. We'll see if we can end up getting that on NUKK.
There's 24 in QUBT and more.
So we're almost at that 25 price target that you got.
Yep, almost there.
Oh man, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there for sure.
Baby, she's flying, man.
There we go, man.
God, the soundboard sounds so much better with.
Does it?
Oh yeah, so much better.
Okay, I look, man. I love that. I love hearing that. Is anyone watching QBTS, bro? We have been following the quantum theme every single day here on the show. Yes, is the answer to that question. Yes, Oh, sorry. I thought you said which one.
2420 got us. That's where we got with QUBT before it pulled. So not quite 25 yet, but
you were close.
The day is still young. Yeah, I got to tighten that up, right? The day is still young, so we'll see if it gets it later.
And what a surprise, QBTS pulling at the same time. I bet the same is true for IONQ. Let's check. Yep. All of those moving together here.
I agree. It's very extended. So good luck on your short. I'm sure you'll do well. Just be careful because a lot of these things they tend to eat shorts too. So I mean I agree. This thing is super extended. Look at that, all the way up over 22.
Sound coming back into that VWAP. Got that VWAP at 2096 here. By the way, wow, nasty reversal here. NUKK. Hope nobody got hurt there. Pull right back down to the VWAP. That's actually losing it at the moment. NUKK.
1 minute chart was looking bearish. A lot of these are pulling. How's Archer doing? Is everything pulling?
Sky T. This was another. I'll tell you what, Sky T, which got a mention here earlier, this is not pulling. This actually looking pretty good right now.
Andrew Senior TV saying PSEC is
now. Remember PSEC. So real quickly here on PSEC. I don't know where you're going with that, but I got really excited there. PSEC. This is one of those dividend players that Tim Melvin suggested, and this one is a monthly dividend too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this pays 10% monthly. I own some of this.
Oh shit. I'll have to pick some up.
Yeah, monthly dividend payer there, PSEC. Now I'm sorry for interrupting there. I don't know if you had a setup that was coming here. This was mentioned in the chat, right, Andrew? Yep, one to watch. I mean, this is one to own. Maybe this does curl here. Volume not great yet on PSEC here today.
PRZO trying to reverse, go back higher. It's getting some movement here.
That's pair 0 PRZO.
Yep. Just trying to get going here. 270 is the intraday high that we have here with this one.
Was a decent cross of the VWAP and a looks like what's trying to kind of back test it there a little bit. VRAR getting a mention here. Omar, yes, this did pop here. Actually popped above its high, came back in.
Oh, Cooler getting a mention as well.
NUKK going right back to the highs here. Boy, this thing is kind of all over the place, isn't it?
Oh my goodness.
You think we go? You think we go nuclear here on this one?
Okay. No, I'm
No,
just
you're looking
kind
at a
of,
different chart. Got you.
I'm sorry. I was not
It's
paying
fine.
attention because that cooler news is good stuff.
Okay, well, let's break it down here. Let's break it down like a fraction. Let me bring up Cooler here and take a look at it. Cooler is plus 17.5% on whatever this news is.
Free compliance.
Okay.
That was a huge thing for this.
I know. That
Free
it was a huge theme, and
But-
and actually, you've been talking about that for this stock just in general.
Oh yeah, but also they had news yesterday as well that they're going to be, launching its one space battery on a SpaceX rideshare mission that's going to happen in 2026. So there's a future catalyst for you there as well. But that's good to see the mingling with SpaceX, because I've been talking about how Cooler is now, I view it as a space play. Here we go. We're getting the space theme started with that now. This is just great. Cooler's been one I've been having on my radar for such a long time and trading it a long time. It's doing so well.
Yeah, I love to see those. I love to see old ones that you're convicted on. That's why I'm really hoping that this ONDS move, I'm really hoping that we go, 5 and then double digits, because that will really validate a long-term plan that I had. NUKK, by the way, not in this again. Smoke tuna, you had really good mention there, this being, kind of bullish. I know we pulled back to the VWAP here, but that actually was a buy setup. This thing's wild here, flirting with that $20 level here.
PRZO. This one looks like it's going to break the intraday high and try for the pre-market highs. It's got to get through 270.
So a whole bunch of Walmart calls go off here. Here is your PRZO. See if it takes out that intraday high there. NUKK going for the highs.
Oh Lord, what's it going to do? Well, let's see if it can. I mean, it's above my view up right now. Don't like these the way these wicks look. I may just wait a little bit.
UMAC going. You mentioned from Crow in here. I don't see it on the scanner. Let me bring it up here though. UMAC.
All right. PRZO not able to break out yet. What's with UMAC?
UMAC is just ripping on volume here. New highs. So we set a new high right out of the open, but we just took that high out again and did it on volume. Volume looking good here. I'd really watch the spot here on UMAC 13 3/4, 1375. That spot to watch.
Oh, because they got coverage. That's I don't see anything else.
Maxim Group initiating coverage on unusual machines with a buy rating and announcing an $18 price target. Boy, we are on the way, aren't we?
Well, there's where we're going, folks. We're going to 18.
NUKK, you guys are mentioning that. NUKK over 21 and then rehalted. So boy, oh boy, that pull. I'll tell you what, I'm glad I didn't trade this one earlier, because if I had bought that initial move, that pull probably would have shaken me from this. Knowing myself, probably would have ended up taking a loss there, even though this came right back into that 65 EMA on the 5. Maybe that's what I'll do on some of these wild ones. I'll kind of just use a little bit larger time frame and maybe reduce position size and then stay in if you get some of this movement. Because look at how, it was violent to the downside here, but it was violent right back to the upside. Part of me wonders if now that we're halted, this is around the same price it was halted at the first time, isn't it? Sure looks close. I wonder if we pop out of this halt. I think the last one. I wonder if we pop out of this one.
I think we could. I mean, that the trend seems to be going in the upside direction, and it's got the volume for that. So I think we could. Very, very possible. PRZO pushed into new intraday highs. Still having a hard time getting through some of this pre-market consolidation. We might get a bounce here off VWAP for PLRZ. This one can be whatever it wants, because I have no idea where it could go. But hopefully that where it goes is up. And what else is moving that we're looking at here? I saw I mentioned for Tesla. Let's see, where are we at with that? Are we higher than yesterday? Doesn't look like it. Not quite yet. So we'll see what happens with Tesla. All right, looks like PLRZ is trying to take the next leg up after getting VWAP support. There's a big wall at 420 though, so we break through that, we could really get moving, or it's going to provide resistance.
Okay. Still waiting on NUKK to unhalt. QUBT calls in size going off here. So it looks like people are still placing upside bets on that. I think your 25 target is still on deck here, 13.
Sure is. Let's pay these folks. Come on, market. All right, so QUBT. Let's make sure I got this here. And what else? Yeah, guy, that's a really nice looking flags or pennant setup there, a bull pennant for QUBT.
Just looking at that. I think this hits your target. I think this does. I think this goes for it.
Yeah, I would think that it'd have to make the move pretty soon here too.
Yeah. OKLO holding higher here, just shy of 23 on that.
You got any time on NUKK reopening?
Let's see. We were halted here at 9:57. So that was 3 minutes ago. So I think this is going to be the first one was a 10-minute halt, was it not? I think we're probably looking at the same thing again. So 7 more minutes, either 2 or 7 minutes, 13.
All right. Trying
to figure out which one that first one was. I'll keep doing that. Sorry.
No worries. Getting asked if PRZO free float is really 800K. In my broker, it says that it's 9 million shares. Let me look and see what Benzinga has for it. Yeah, 9 million shares. The short float is 701,000. So I don't know if you might be looking at that, but for me, I got float at 9 million across 2 different sources for PRZO. Just waiting for that QUBT to do the move. Waiting for NUKK to unhalt. Seeing that CGTX is trying to come back up, but I don't know that it's going to, necessarily get back over $1 and hold. We'll have to see if that's correct or not, but it's not looking great at the moment.
NUKK is open now. It actually went a little bit higher. It looks like it is now pulling on NUKK. Webcoin here was mentioning this was at a double top intraday, so it could pull before going for it. Looks like that's exactly what it's trying to do right now. It's pulling, but not breaking up. There we go. As soon as I said it, it started. See if this comes back into the VWAP. I've got that VWAP at 1885, 1873 here in Pro.
That's quite a fight that they got going on there, especially if that $20 level, because that's where the support came in on this move down. So $20, and now it's coming back up. All right, here we go. It's going higher now. 22.
Yep, there it is. Good call, Webcoin, on that one. I'll tell you what. That was a good call.
And number 2435 is the high in this one. Looks like it's going to halt again. NUKK.
2278 going to be your halt price there if it holds.
Yep. And halted.
Yep. Yep. FGL, this is one that you were mentioning here earlier. This did continue higher. Sky T, Conga, looks like this is taking the next leg up, beg your pardon. PRZO, this pushing away from its VWAP there. Good stuff. QUBT taking a break so far, but not breaking down. Yeah, Smoke Tuna, that bullish call was awesome. Now we're in another upside halt. Watch it really go nuclear out of this halt, too. That'd be something else. Teva looks like this had a really good day yesterday. This is like this is new highs here today. TEVA.
I think we might be getting going here with QUBT. Uber? Let's take a look
No,
at that.
Cooler.
Cooler.
KULR. Chat's mentioning it. Ramping here. KULR.
Looks like it wants to.
Sure does.
Yeah, Cooler came on my radar back in like 2021.
Yeah. And
was
didn't it
much
go through
higher.
some splits since then? Yeah.
I don't think it went through any splits. It just,
Okay.
has had a really hard time, not raising money, but getting contracts. It's just taken a long time. But ever since they had their videos for their products out for a long time, and I was like, this is a real company. This has some actual stuff.
Yeah.
I think they've done offerings since then, because it used to be 100 million shares in the float. Now it's twice that. All right. You're going to get that move with QUBT or what?
CGTX back to its VWAP here. QUBT is the one you're looking at, huh? Sorry, I'm just going through some of the other scanner stocks here. Vuzi trading higher here on expanding volume as well.
Oh, that's great. Keep going, Vuzi. I see what you're saying about CGTX. This is, it's back up to that trend line. This is where it's either going to get rejected and go lower, or it's going to break out and get back over $1, maybe even take out the pre-market high. But I need to see a big expansion volume in order to break through that VWAP and trend line. I still think this potentially could go down more.
The CVRS, we took a look at this one earlier here.
Ooh.
Yeah, this was nasty. So this actually traded higher in the after hours yesterday. It really got wiped out here today, down about 50%. Corvus Pharmaceutical shares trading lower. Company announced interim data from the randomized double-blind placebo-controlled phase 1 clinical trial evaluating one of its drugs in patients with moderate to severe atopic dermatitis.
How much cash do they have?
How much cash do they have? Let me check. That's a good question. 4.6 million.
And they just did phase 1.
Yeah, they're going to be in trouble here.
Got some bad news.
Yeah, they're going to need a lot more than that. That's for sure. NVNI looks like this was a penny stock that's
oh wow, that's great move
halted, ripped, and then resumed, ripped, and then halted again here, 121. Still waiting on Nuke to open and UKK.
Yeah. Still waiting on QUBT to, hit 25, but it keeps wanting to make its way back to the VWAP. What else are we looking up here? I need to look at NVNI. Everybody's talking about that one. What do they do here? So this is one that this is a NASDAQ compliance play.
Which one? At
NVNI.
NVNI.
Mm-hmm. They were getting compliance news back in November, so we haven't seen anything that says they're back within compliance. So that's a potential catalyst looking forward for this one. So want to keep on your radar, absolutely. All right, so there's that expected move in CGTX got rejected at the VWAP and that trend line back lower. Let's see if it can get the same kind of support.
NUKK is open.
Nice. Let's see if we can get the same kind of support with CGTX. Maybe the next trip up to that trend line and VWAP could break through it.
Huge move higher here at NUKK. This might halt again.
It's beyond the pre-market highs now, 25.
Yep.
So this one hits 25.
Yep. Are we going? Oh, the only level that we have out here now is 40, and Lion Atlas is going to be doing a dance on the table if we hit that. So that goes higher here. God, this one's absolutely crazy. To have this happen again here today. 26.62, it's going to halt here. If it holds, it's not holding. 44 is the gap fill, says Smoke Tuna. We'll halt right here, 26.62.
Jeez.
Another halt up. Well, I didn't have to watch it for all that long. We watched it the entire time it was open. I guess that's good news.
I don't see where this gap fill is. The highest print I have for NUKK is 34.16, and that was back in December of 2023.
Yeah, I know, Lion. I know you're excited for that. I know you're waiting that one out. That'd be something else. That would be something else. Tell you what, I'd be impressed if that thing goes to 40. When he first said that, I kind of said to myself, that seems irresponsible. And here we are, so almost halfway there. Lion absolutely loving it. Okay,
All right.
might be at a viable support area here. How did Tesla end up resolving, Lion, while we're talking about all your winners and your money printing here? Look at that. Tesla going higher. Really good stuff off that dip. That was the ad there. We're 10 points again here on Tesla.
Question is, do we get higher than yesterday? I think that's going to be up to Bitcoin, though, isn't it?
That's going to be up to Wisdom, actually. But well, we will see if it's up to Bitcoin here. Bitcoin here holding 104,000 on the futures.
It's been kind of leaking. It's it goes lower and it has a pop, and then it goes lower again.
I'm going to step away for 1 sec. I'll BRB.
All right. What else do we have going on here today with these movers? Looks like QUBT is finally trying to make that move up to 25 after getting support from the VWAP. See if that gets going. PLRZ is trying to do the same thing. Got some support from VWAP. Not so sure about this one. Again, this one, it can do whatever it wants because it has very little price action. So I don't know where it's going to go. PRZO, that one's headed lower. Upper shadow's not really looking great. So I guess it's just a matter of waiting for NUKK to unhalt because that's been the winner today. What else are you looking at? Everybody just saying NUKK. Massive sell-off in OKLO. That doesn't sound very good. What happened there? So, okay. So we were getting some support around 20.5 earlier this morning when we opened. And now we're losing that level. This is also the third 5-minute candle down. So maybe support's coming in OKLO. We'll have to wait and see. All right, so CGTX still getting support from that, 85 cent level, trying to come back up and push through VWAP. QUBT still has not turned around to make that 25 rip yet, but is holding VWAP.
OKLO lost its intraday support there. That's coming back in. QUBT almost at the VWAP.
Yeah, things are really starting to slow down, it looks like.
Well, thankfully, we have the Fed here today, so we're going to have something kick back up around midday.
Yeah, but that's not until like 2 p.m.
Yeah.
PLRZ.
It's like 4 hours away, I know.
PLRZ doing stuff again.
This is actually a decent looking curl on that chart.
Mm-hmm. This needs the volume to match. Yeah, QUBT may end up just rolling over here, not liking the way the MACD looks. So if it continues to lose VWAP, then we're likely headed under 20. There goes PLRZ. That looks much better, pushing up. Yeah, midday, Fed day, markets are slow, and alphas are roaming. Absolutely.
You guys are mentioning Uber a few times here today. Let's take a look at. Sorry, I didn't go to that chart earlier. Uber, this has had a really nice move here today.
Is there news on this?
Not really. Yeah, Cantor reiterating overweight price target adjustment here today. 90, by the way, is that price target.
Okay, well, that's where it's going. That's ingest. Gosh, I don't know about that. I don't know about 90 at all.
Yeah, that was just a price target adjustment. It was not an upgrade, Izzy.
Yeah,
Those are different.
So if Uber, gosh, really calling the levels on where this go to is hard, but I don't like the way the price action looks. I certainly don't like the way the 50 is bearing down on the 200, about to cross it to the downside. That would be pretty bad, considering this is not one of those that has those oscillating moving averages. That would be a first time that those moving averages crossed each other to the downside.
Okay.
For in a long time.
Jay, nuke float, NUKK float. I've got it at 2.44 million.
Goldman says, which one's a top pick of 2025? Uber? Oh, okay. Well, we will see. It's just I don't like the price action. Maybe it'll be a good pick when it finally ends up selling. Finishes selling off. That might be coming soon, or there's more downside ahead. Maybe I would think closer to 55 or 56 would be a better spot. But for me, this could end up going as low as 45 before we get a rebound.
CDIO back above $1 here. We're still waiting on nuke to open here. Webcoin mentioning it's very low on cash, near zero. Beware of a stock issue. Indeed. In fact, if I was that company, I'd be trying to get those out there as fast as I can. You'd be stupid not to. So it traded 50 times the float in 2 days. It would appear that. That's NUKK.
Bitcoin starting to rebound. Yeah, for the time being. If it can get back over, it has a way to go before 105. I just don't like that double top it put in earlier, but we might be getting to the end of that resolution. Okay. Still waiting for some movement out of QBT, but it's not looking great at the moment. I think we're all just waiting for NUKK, right?
At the moment, yeah. I'm just kind of looking around. I don't see anything else great here. VIX down to 1536, but
yeah, just a bunch of stuff just kind of hanging out, not doing a whole lot. Waiting for the Fed, waiting for nuke to open. Is NVIDIA expected to rise? I would think that's the expectation that a lot of folks have. I think that it still needs to, cool off some more, and it might be getting its lunch eaten by Broadcom. At least that's something that we could end up seeing next year. I think NVIDIA still needs to cool off some more, but that's my opinion. Other opinions are that this thing should be higher. So there's the conflict.
Birkenstock, this reported earnings here up 7%, almost 7.5% here today. And actually looking like it's trying to recapture the VWAP and going higher here on that. Birk, ticker BIRK.
Could I just go off screen for a second? There's a phone call that's been trying to.
Yeah, of course. Dude. Here, you want me to help you? Yeah, I got you. Always. QMCO. Okay, so another one of those quantum names. This is the huge pop here on QMCO. This has come back in. NVNI, that's that one that we talked about earlier. It's hanging on to $1. LITM, that's the penny stock that's ripping here. This is crazy. I know you guys like to play penny stocks here. This is popping pretty hard here. What do we have as the pre-market high there? 78 cents. Interesting. JJ, I think he was referring to NUKK because that was what Webcoin was talking about earlier with it just not having a whole lot of cash. I can't see the Nightbot. I don't know what it's doing to you, Lion, but Nightbot has a very clear, defined set of rules. I'd imagine if it's bothering you, you're probably breaking them. That would be my guess right off the top. QUBT still down back at its VWAP here. Nuke is open and higher, it looks like. Yep, let's go to that here. 29, almost 30 here. Lion, are we going to do it? Are we going to do it, Lion? Are we going to go to 40? Okay, so Lion, you had said if Nuke goes to 40, take your money. That seems obvious. Take your money, and don't forget to thank me. Yeah, indeed. Indeed. Nuke going to be halted here at 30.76. It's still open at the moment. I'm not in this, by the way. Halted right there. Wow. So Nuke hit 30. We are definitely going nuclear. Let's see if 13 is ready here real quick. Yep. Yes, he is. Perfect. There he is. All right. So while you were gone, Nuke hit 30. Mm-hmm. So we're almost there. We're 10 points away from Lions price target. So we'll see if we end up getting that there. This is wild stuff. How many of you are hitting this? I guess we'll just start throwing out sound effects because at this point, this has just been a monster move. Jay, did you hit this one? That was a joke. Jay, you're mentioning Burke here. Jay said the only recent IPO nobody talked about. Are you referring to Burke? Because I'm pretty sure Reddit. Yeah, I think you are because Reddit was really popular. That maybe this is coming back in. Maybe doesn't look like it's decided yet. And then A-Lab. I'll be honest. A-Lab. We did talk a little bit about that ahead of the IPO. It was really after the IPO when we started mentioning this one. We started looking at this a lot. One big green nuke from Robert Smith. Okay, awesome. A sideshow. I'm in nuke.
Excellent.
What's going on, Britt? Are we buying nuke at this level? I am not. I am not. This definitely feels like a chase here. Not participating at this level. We'll see if it pulls back here. Smoke Tuna had the best call earlier when it pulled back. Looked like it was kind of flashing a bullish signal. That was at $18. It was at $18. And good morning, Britt. Look at this. I was just kidding. Jay, I did. I got nuke, but I'm out. Sold all the way up early again. I'll tell you what, man. You booked profit on a rager like that. You did well. You did well. And Lion, yeah, I'm not. Lion's waiting to sell at 40. He's not trying to buy at this level, no question. Yeah, I'd be very careful. Even for like a quick scalp trade, I'd be very, very careful at this level. It can go back as quickly as it's gone up here. And the only levels that I see here, where was that one that I'll mention here? Glenn, I love this, Glenn. Glenn, watch nuke the weekly 100 SMA just above. So here, let me go to that real quick. Here's nuke weekly 100 S. Oh, you know what? I have to go to my other chart. Let me do that here real quick. We'll get you some levels. And then the other levels are obviously going to be those halt levels that the thing had.
So you folks have levels that are higher than 34.16? I don't see any of that in my broker or looking in Benzinga.
Yeah, weekly 100 SMA. Weekly 100 SMA I have is at 336, Glenn. So I guess I'm doing something wrong here.
I'm just kind of.
I'm still holding. What's the plan to sell? You must be holding on to a massive winner. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Jeez. Small's 275 to $3 350 level. He's been in it since then. That's crazy. Well done on holding with those diamond hands.
Yeah. At some point you got to start coming up with a plan to take gains though. We're now 10x from the level that you're watching. 10x. So look, it's not, I know it looks awesome on your P&L, stocks up 10x here, but that's not your money until you close that trade. Don't forget that. Nuke will dump at the end, so be careful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is my question. It looks like Smalls was doing that, Robert, but this is my question. Did anyone hold from yesterday? That's not something I would have been able to do. There's no way I would have held this thing from yesterday. No way.
And remember we also talked about Nuke and Happy Hour yesterday. Isn't this kind of like an inside job with the CEO owning the company that they just picked up? Wasn't that what happened?
Say that one more time. I was reading another message there.
Wasn't this the NUKK? Wasn't this kind of an inside job with the CEO owning the company that NUKK just bought?
Yeah. Yes, this was. The company that was bought by NUKK was owned by the CEO. So it's like,
let's reward him.
Yeah, it's like arranged, right? I mean, it's like, careful. We can only say careful so many times here. But you do have, here we go. It's open and it's going higher here. And now it's starting to reverse. Oh, nope, higher. I swear to God, this is going to go to 40 and make us thank Lion.
Well, it certainly went up to the, what is that high?
Ooh, pull into a halt here. 28.80 is going to be the halt.
Yeah, because I have 34.16 as the all-time high in this, and it just went up to 34, and now we're pulling. I'm really curious as to where 40 came from. Really curious. I don't see any price action that suggests that $40 was ever a price this stock hit.
Awesome stuff. So we are in a halt down here, but just kind of reading the chat here from the group. Kathy, look at this. I held 100 shares from yesterday, kept it on my radar and bought more pre-market, scaling out when I can. Kathy, way to go. Way to go.
Oh, geez, Diamond Hotline.
Sold a chunk of shares at 34 from Brit.
Oh,
dude.
wow.
Wow is right. That was what was your entry was in like the 17s, I feel like. That's a monster. That's an absolute monster trade here. Whatever that happens the rest of the day, you did great today.
Yeah, I'm looking through Trading View. I'm using their charts. I don't see anything higher than 34. I see price action going back to 2017.
Yeah, I think that the only reason he said 40 is because he was comparing it to drug.
Oh,
which went from like single digits to 44 or whatever it was. What's drug at now? Well, while we're talking about it,
unless it's a trend line.
41.
That you're looking at. Is it a trend line that you're getting 40 from?
No. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I was just looking at Nuke.
Yeah, the reason, or what are you trying to figure out here, just to make sure I'm clear?
Where if there was ever any price action in above the high that I have here, which is 34.16.
No, the $40 price target that you're getting came from Lion simply looking at drug and being like, NUKK is going to do what drug did, and drug went to the 40s.
Okay.
There was no price action or previous level that it was getting to. It was just a compare to another stock that went absolutely buck wild.
I guess the only other thing I could, lean on to where that comes from is if we're talking about resistance, and because if you look at the price action going back to 2017 in NUKK, I'm not even sure if this was.
It looks like so you're saying that on your, okay, so this just has to do with historical pricing here,
right?
Folks. Smoke Tuna saying I can see Nuke, the highest price was 87.89 because of reverse splits. So we don't have that here on the chart.
That's weird because you would see the adjustment for that on Trading View usually.
Yeah.
So that's really weird that I'm not getting it.
I have on my broker here going back to 2023.
It's just a guess. Okay.
Well, that doesn't make any sense.
But you know what? It's interesting too, because like if you see the price action, you're going back to 2017, draw a trend line, from those highs back in, at the beginning of the chart through the high we had in this year in January, get pretty close to the price today, having $40 as being near that top of that or that trend line. So I could see where that would where $40 would come from if we were talking on a technical side. I could see that. That's what I was looking for. I was looking for some explanation for 40, and if it's just a guess, then it's just a guess.
That is what it is.
Okay,
it's just a guess there.
Sorry, I was trying to make sense out of it. I was wasting too much time doing that. There's one. It'll be at $15 end of day. What difference does it make? Well, it makes all the difference if you can capture the gains.
Yeah, I think what you're trying to do is you're trying to figure out, or you're trying to deduce certain levels based on the price history.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I think that's the only thing that, yeah. I mean, at this point, it doesn't really matter at all. I'm not even. Are you in this? Or did you hold into this all?
No.
Yeah. I was gonna say I'm not in this. So I mean, it doesn't really matter where it opens here. I'm really glad to see our chat continuing to print off this. You guys are holding some of these stocks. Love that it's rewarding you.
I had my fun with it. Don't worry.
Oh, nobody's worried. Believe me, nobody's worried. Okay, well, while we wait for that to open, I'm going to take a quick look here at the market. Let's see what's going on. Looks like NVIDIA, your big winner here today. NVIDIA up 4%. Looks like a reversal of yesterday. Uber here also up 4%. Let's see, CI, this is Cigna. This is up 5.5%. CVS. Who asked about CVS yesterday? Was that you, Stay Focused? Somebody asked about this yesterday.
I don't recall.
Nuke is open and lower and now trying to go higher. Boy, we are all over. Let me just go back to that real quick. We'll figure out CVS here in a sec.
Yeah, no idea why we're getting such a different read, but it doesn't matter. All that matters is the price action we're getting today, and it's probably not going to happen again for another long time, if ever. Because it seems like it's had those spikes before.
Nuke continuing its pullback here, 25 handle. God, I can't believe it went to 34, though. That was so awesome. So awesome for you folks that were able to sell in that.
Looks like a lot of things are pulling right now. TNXP asks Tony Kelch. This was this the one yesterday? TNXP that moved? I think so.
That was one of the penny stocks, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think the move is over now. I think this is what the new, it came off the news that everybody was waiting for. That was in this. What are we looking for here? The next next levels, because we just may end up going lower back into consolidation until it gets another catalyst. So if you're looking to still play TNXP, take a look at their website, see what they have in the pipeline when they're expecting that to conclude their trials. That'll give you an idea of when the next setup is for it to potentially rally. QUBT not going to 25. 24.20 is the high that we've got so far. Now it is back testing this trend line that we had this morning. So if it reverses here, it'll have to recapture VWAP, and then we might be able to get 25, but has to reverse here.
So CVS, so really quickly, this was down yesterday because of the PBM comment that Trump made. Stay focused. This was you that mentioned this, and then it's just kind of bouncing back here today. Is that what we're thinking? Yeah. United Health, CVS extend decline as Pfizer CEO cites Trump's PBM comments. Horrible middlemen comments, which is what those were. Sorry, go ahead.
Getting a mention with LITM, Snow Lake Resources, that this was getting mentioned that this is trying to go here. If it cannot get back above 60 cents and continue to move up, I think we end up going lower. This looks like it's setting up for head and shoulders. So we'll see if that ends up happening. But 60 cents, I think that's the big level we need to see it get over right now.
Okay.
And then Nuke is halted but
To the upside.
Yeah.
And make this up at this point, guys.
James Grant mentioning NVNI is halted.
I wanted to take a look at Etsy here real quick. We got a question about it. We don't often look at Etsy here. I think it was just thoughts, right? Sam, yeah, Sam just saying thoughts on Etsy. This is a tough one. The chart looks good here because it's really kind of been crushed. This might have actually been a tax loss candidate. We've recently recaptured the 200 and we've done a really good job holding it. Oh, actually, did we break beneath it? Okay, so we'll watch this today here. And imagine if you close above 59 even, this is probably ready for a swing long. Good season to have. I mean, I would imagine Etsy would perform well over the holiday season. And like I said, if this was a tax buy candidate at all, this is probably pretty good timing for this. Being said, I don't really use Etsy here very much myself. And you're clearly fighting a downtrend since 2022. So I like where it's at technically in terms of that 200. And I like the seasonality of it. But this thing's in a clear downtrend here. What other stuff do we have?
Was there
highly shorted? Sorry, highly shorted here. Just about 20% of the float shorted in 6 days to cover. So it does have some squeeze potential in there.
But what was the reason it was coming down today? Was it just off of the retail sales report that we got?
I don't have any news for this, so maybe it was from that.
Because it came yesterday and it didn't,
Yeah, I think this is just trading.
Yeah, it sold yesterday, but not like it is now.
Retail sales, by the way, that print yesterday, ex gas and autos, month over month for November was 0.2 versus a 0.4 estimate, so it came in light. Yeah, this is a tough one. I like where it's at on the chart, and I like the fact that it is, Etsy. I could see people doing some holiday shopping there, but man, oh man, I don't really like the trend, and I'm not familiar with the product.
Yeah, so the thing that I'm seeing here when I go to a smaller time frame and just kind of look and see what the price action was like, there was something that happened over the weekend that when Monday came, it just exploded out of the into the 60s, and then it just kind of hung out up there. Now it's just giving it all back and going right back to where it was when it opened on Monday. So that whole move just getting back. I don't know what the move was on, but something must have happened to where
Monday we had a reiteration from JPM Securities on a market perform.
Oh, okay.
But it's just a reiteration, and I don't even see a price target change on that.
Yeah, so it just ran on that, held for a day, and then it said, "Oh yeah, this is nothing," and it gave it all back. That's about all I can draw from this. It seems like it's all this move down here is just giving back the move it had on Monday.
I really want to see this close above the 200. That would feel good. That'd be sweet if we could do that here. And maybe you could talk yourself into that. Etsy is meh. That's kind of That's what I mean. And maybe it's ignorance on my part. Maybe there's some really great stuff on Etsy that I just don't know about. Suppose that's possible. I don't really see it though. I don't really get it. By the way, LITM, this was penny stock you guys were talking about earlier, continuing to go to that pre-market high.
Tenzin, we're going to be calling it Metsy from now on. Thank you for that, Metsy.
Hey, way to go, Jane. Way to go, Jane.
Oh, yeah.
Playing NUKK, a Christmas miracle. Let's go.
I love it. Get yourself a good gift. You deserve it. And Nuke is open.
Uh-oh.
And it's trying to decide who to reward. The Bulls or the Bears. SPY pushing.
Plus 30 there real quick on NUK. Okay. I'm just going to keep calling it Nuke. I feel like I shouldn't be calling it Nuke, but Nuke is so easy. We all know. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. I need some more coffee.
I mean, okay, so the market doing market things, kind of sideways until we opened. We open and we completely sell off down to, some of the close to the lows we had yesterday.
And back to that.
And a V-shaped recovery back up to where we started.
Futures here. When I got on this morning, one of the first things that I read, well, I said hello, but one of the first things I read market-wise was at the futures, and they were all up about 0.3. In fact, I still have that written in my notes. Look across the board here. We're right back to the same spot. Plus 2.5, plus 2.7, plus. Okay, NASDAQ kind of gave that up. That's flat here. But SPY and the Dow right back to where they were.
Crazy, crazy moves.
Indeed. Now it looks like it's kind of slowing down here a little bit.
I've got good news for you, Sam. This isn't going to be the only time you're going to see something like this happen. These seem to happen like, maybe once every quarter, or sometimes once or twice a year. But we will find these and we will trade them. Well,
this isn't the first one that we found recently. We've had a couple of these recently. I'm sure we're going to find some more.
But right now, we're not finding a whole lot of anything else to trade except for NUKK and a handful of these other ones we've been seeing this morning.
I mean, the NUKK trade has just been wild.
Is he mentioning LITM?
Could take a look at that here real quick. Sorry, I'm just kind of looking across the board. I do want to check out the Twitter streets. See if there's anything out there. LITM, you want me to pop that on screen here, 13?
Sure. Yeah, this one, let's see. I was mentioning something about, I think it was this, needed to get above 60. Okay, so we are above 60 now.
Brittany, all out nuke.
All right.
Okay. 5 shares. Okay. Totally get it. You want to, just in case that goes to 40, you want to be able to say that you sold at 40 as well. Still, banger trade. Really, really good stuff here. Looks like our group really kind of cleaned up on NUKK here.
Yes,
did end up walking away with some profit from that finally.
Webcoin mentioning that CGTX, that's starting to turn around. Looks like it's trying to get back up to VWAP. This time, because I was talking about how that testing of the VWAP and the trend line from earlier this morning was, probably take it lower. It did, but this next trip up here, this could be the one that potentially breaks through that VWAP and trend line. But it's going to need the volume to do that. So if you see it trade up to that area where VWAP is, watch the volume because you'll need to get a good amount of it to break through and go higher. Otherwise, it's just going to reverse and go lower. But it looks pretty good right now to set up and to break.
Okay. Really good stuff across the board here. Jay, I do appreciate this as always. I know we get caught up here when we're talking about some of these stocks that are just continually ripping several 100% gains, the whole 9 yards. Really important to remember this. New QUBT, trust me, they won't end well. Remember when VFS was 90. We see that a lot on these moves. Don't overstay your welcome. Here's VinFast, by the way. It's currently at $4. Don't overstay your welcome. Lion saying the same thing. Take profit, even half. Don't risk your gains. Make sure you pay yourself on stuff like this. Stay focused. Looks like you are absolutely pounding OKLO here today. Is that continuing to move to the short side? Oh my God. Yes, it is. So, all right. The news here, Oklo shares were trading higher after the company and Switch signed a non-binding master power agreement to deploy 12 gigawatts. Through 2044. We talked a lot about this. This is a story that's got a long time horizon here. Not going to be really quick gains. Kudos to you for going the other way here, right? Market and the public. We're up on Oklo. We were higher here in the pre-market. We ripped out of the open. You managed to find a area to short this at in the 22 handle. Looking like you got about 4 points on that short, boss.
Hustle and bustle, I'd have to go back and look and see which ones those tickers were. But we have had some of these marathon runners throughout the year. Some of them haven't done like 1 or 2 day moves, but we have had these multi-day, just continuations and a lot of these names. And Oklo was one of them. You had them. You also had some of these space plays take off. I think Rocket, ASTS and Rocket Lab and Lunar were also really huge marathon movers that took the time over, several days. I mean, look at that was 2023. There's Intuitive Machines here. So there was a pretty big move from like the $3 level all the way up to 15. That took a couple months. ASTS did the same thing. As far as the 1 or 2 day movers, I know that there are some, but I just can't think of what their names were right now, because we traded them and then we haven't looked at them since.
There's been a ton of those 13. I can never keep them straight. And I'll tell you what, they're easily forgotten because once they're off the radar, a lot of the times they don't come back here. Really good stuff. And it looks like the group here is completely on the same page here. It's Britt saying it's going to end ugly. You're absolutely right. Not for you. Now, when you've got those kind of gains booked, it ain't going to end ugly. Way to go. Jay, Lion, you guys are saying the exact same thing. Paul saying take gains on nuke people. Me 13, no one here in the chat, like we can't tell you what to do. One of the things that we're saying here, we're calling out things that we notice that have happened to us before. And you know what's happened in the past. We're trying to learn lessons from those. Here we go. David, really good example here. To see how quickly a stock can change, just go back to one of yesterday's runners, TNXP. This is exactly what we're talking about here. Look at TNXP. This thing was almost $2 in the pre-market. By the time we opened, this had lost what? Like 60% of its total value. It closed lower than that. It closed lower than it closed yesterday, lower than where it closed the previous day after going up like 700% or whatever it was, several 100%. And now we're lower here. David, this is a really good example of why we do this. BNZI, yes, Bonsai. Brittany, you
That's
are
right.
paying attention. Clearly, you are paying attention. BNZI, here you go. Were some of those rips. Like and it was great. We were yelling. We were having a great time. We were yelling Bonsai all morning here.
Archer's one. Look at like a month to the day today.
That's a good call for
November 18th. Look at where we were. Look at exactly where we were. $4 support level after we had started putting in a bull flag. That was the day this whole rip started. It was a month ago today. And now it's 2x and more, possibly going to 3x maybe before the end of the year if it keeps going to 12. Huge move.
All right. Here's this is, I know we're talking about all this. Looks like we're all on the same page here. And that's great because, again, don't want anyone to get hurt. But there's another question here that I really quickly want to address. I definitely want to get your thoughts on this, 13. Bogdan asking here, thoughts on taking profit versus holding on long-term potential. I'm not sure to exit Cooler or to hold. I got out of Rigetti way too early. So, okay, couple of tips here. So number one, of course, can't advise you on any individual name. But what we can say here is that a lot of this should actually be figured out before being in the trade. Right. So you should know when you're going to trade something. Am I trading this? Am I looking for a day trade? Am I looking for a swing trade? Or am I investing in this? All right. If you're investing in it, you have a long-term time horizon. You likely have milestones that you're hoping the company achieves along its way, just to kind of tell you that the trade is working there or that the thesis hasn't changed. It's hard though. And the other thing is like especially with some of these stocks that were day trading, like, if going into the trade, I know it's going to be a day trade, I don't even care. We joke about it sometimes. Like if I sell a stock at $10 and it runs to 15, yeah, it sucks. But at the same time, it's like you still made money on that. Like it's not, is it really the end of the world that you didn't hit the peak and the trough? It's hard. It's hard to do this. So I can't advise you on Cooler 13. Maybe you can give some type of information. I know you've been following that stock for a long time, but the other stock that you mentioned here, Rigetti, I mean, this was a stock that was below $2 for forever. It felt like. Then all of a sudden we got this theme and you sold into the move in the theme. To me, you did it right. You didn't hit the top, but that's honestly okay. You'll probably get another opportunity to reload a lot of those names on the quantum theme. So hope that made sense. Hope that helps, Bogdan.
Yeah, the whole thing with Cooler is, if you're going to hold something because of a long-term thesis, then you've got to understand that thesis and why you're holding it. So, for one thing you could do if you're not sure about it, but you still want to take some profit off of it, you could just eliminate your cost and take those gains off the table and just have a no cost runner on your hands or otherwise. At the same time, you could do other things like trade around a position. If it goes beneath your cost, you could buy. If it starts going back above your cost, you could sell until you're back down to your core position. That's something that I've done with Archer, and that worked out really well. But you got to understand the risk when it comes to some of these names. And for Cooler, the longest time, it was that they have a very large share structure. They didn't have the revenue at the time or the contracts at the time, so it was very, very hard to have these sustained upside moves with something that large. This current move that we're getting here, we might also see a big drop as well, because that share structure is just so large. So it's going to be a lot of different things that you have to look at with these names. But if you're looking to take some profit, maybe just take your costs off the table. That would be something that I would do if I wanted to reduce my risk. Otherwise, wherever you think this goes, just plan ahead and understand the risk that you're taking by holding something that has a very large share structure for the long term.
Yeah, and like Bernard is saying here, sold enough Cooler to hold the ones left at zero cost. This is a really good way to do that, right? If there's a stock that we're talking about that's in theme right now, like some of these quantum names, for example, you say to yourself, well, I kind of like this long term, but the stuff's crazy in the near term. Trade around it, build up some of those gains, and then you can hold that core position with very less risk. This is actually very similar to what's going on in ONDS for me. Like, we've had these huge moves recently on this drone theme, but I have a long-term time horizon on this. I actually think that this company can print double digits at some point here. So I'm not necessarily following some of these moves, although now that I'm looking at this on a 15-minute chart, sure looks like we've got a head and shoulder here that's looking like it's going to try and resolve to the downside. I mean, we'll see here. Maybe if it does that, maybe I'll add some more to this and then start doing exactly what we were talking about there, just kind of trading chunks of it around the core and kind of building up some money there. Oh, there you go. Building up some gains, I guess I should have said. Speaking of Nuke, where is that here? 25?
So LITM, because it was getting mentioned. So I was talking about how this looked like it had a head and shoulders, but if we broke 60, that would kind of negate it. We did get that 60 break. So this is really good news for those that were looking for some more upside. And we've come up to the top of that price action from earlier, which I have at 78 cents. So breaking through that, we could continue this uptrend and maybe even get to $1. You could draw a trend line from the two peaks we had earlier to get an idea of where this potentially could run to if we get that 78 to 80 break. It could take it up to just beneath $1, and then I don't know what we're going to get once it reaches the top of that trend line. Maybe another pullback.
Cooler here at the top.
Oh, it hit 2, didn't it?
I don't think so. I actually think it printed 199 as your high. I think it's just teasing you a little bit there. Nuke trying to bounce 26 now.
Yeah. So, Cooler, man, this has been a long time coming. Not sure where we're going to see some resistance at. Maybe $3, maybe $2.50. Can't say for sure. Maybe there's some EMAs that I could look at that might give us an idea. Let's see what I got here. Been a good morning, though.
Yeah, it has. It actually has. And for it being kind of slow ahead of the FOMC, still a number of things here to trade. And Nuke really just kind of made it for us, obviously. Tesla, this was actually a really good trade, too, off that 462 low. I mean, this is 14 points. Lion, you were all over this. I didn't hit it for 14, but this was still pretty good.
Okay, so Cooler, interestingly, that 199 level was the 200 month EMA right there. So we break through that, then we're going to have to just go to some some technical levels from the previous price action, because I don't have any EMAs above that. $2 is the big level right now, and you can see it if you bring it up on your own chart where I was looking at. Nuke is halted, by the way.
Halted to the upside, 27.17 on NUKK. I can actually leave that on screen here if you want. Got filled into halt long. That's the best, Robert. Market orders are my tip for doing that. I've done that a couple of times on these halt stocks. They really start to go. They look like they're going to halt, just quick 100 shares at market. End up getting filled and the thing opens up $5 higher, and it's just crazy.
Sam Shafiz, I don't know if it's already at 2. It's pretty much right there. It's actually just got over 2. Do I think it's going to go to 3? I'll say I'm going to safely say maybe, just because when I look at the daily or when I look at RSIs across pretty much every time frame, this thing's pretty extended. So I think there need to be some cooling off with this move here. So after we get this upside move finished here today, that might be there might be some pullback in this, and I don't know how high it's going to go today. Could go to 225. I see level at 250. 3 is possible as well. I just don't know for sure, but I think that this move is getting very extended, so I'd be careful at this point. Right, exactly. The ZZZ is saying that the float is, well, I have a higher float than that, but it's to your point, it's still very high, and it's going to be hard to continue to push it up. Very, very heavy stock.
Yeah. Hold on. I want to shout this out here. I want to thank this group. I had a 150K account that I took to 25K, and now you've doubled it. That's exactly, we want to hear stuff like that. I'm sorry about the drawdown there. Drawdowns are definitely going to be a part of this career, and how you handle those drawdowns are really how you're going to make your hay as a trader. Being able to stick around through almost a complete wipeout and then trade it up 100%, keep it up. Keep it up, Tracy. And if you keep following some of those rules that have made you successful, I have no doubt that you're going to be able to get that back and then higher than your initial investment. These types of stories are awesome. Sometimes we pop open FinTwit and we see story, oh, I got a Lamborghini, or I did all this stuff and I got this great house from him. I'm like, that's all well and good, and I'm happy about that. But the reality with trading, like the real world, a lot of people get hurt, and a lot of people get hurt first. And if you're able to actually take drawdowns, learn lessons, apply those lessons, and then systemize your process to really start making some money, that's really where the gold is. So, Tracy, congratulations on this. Keep up the good work. And that's a nice feeling going into 2025 there.
Oh, yes. I'm just kind of looking around, seeing if there's anything that's interesting enough to trade. But everything seems to have really slowed down now. I mean, maybe CGTX does, get back up to VWAP and try for that breakout, but man, the volume is just so low. I'm not confident that it will. Maybe later, when after the lunch hour or something. Cooler, still blasting off here, and like I said, I don't know how high this move we're getting today goes. There's multiple levels that we have here. 220 is looking like it's potentially the next one, but I don't know where this stops at. But when it does, I think that will be the move for now, and it's going to come right back in because it's very extended.
Folks, about 3 minutes here. We're going to go to story trading, so stick around for those guys. They're great, and they're going to be up next here. I know we're still waiting on Nuke. We should have that opened up before we adjourn for the day. I think it's actually due here pretty soon.
And Lion Atlas is right about Cooler. They may not be a very big company, and they may not have a whole lot of products, but their products they do have are actually very good. They've been tested. I've seen the tests. I was wondering myself why this wasn't doing better or even tapped by Tesla when a lot of, remember you heard a lot about the news, the battery fires and whatnot. I thought, wow, this is a really great time for Cooler to step up the PR and say, hey, we've got the technology to limit thermal runaway. You should be talking to us. They never did that. But they're more of an aerospace battery play now at this point.
Okay. Good stuff there. Things definitely seem like they slowed down here. Let's do a quick check-in on the market. Want to check here on SPY. Okay, so we are above the pre-market highs here on SPY. Really good bounce back here. NASDAQ also went green after being pretty deep red there. Came right back to even and is green now. Looking pretty good ahead of the FOMC here today. Should be a fun afternoon.
We could potentially go as high as like 607.40 in the SPY today. I would think that's where a lot of the resistance is going to end up being, though, is around that 607, 40, 607.50 area. Kagan asking to check Oklo.
Yeah, Oklo's here is bouncing off the $19 level. I finally had a decent trade on Cooler. Well done, yeah. Cyril.
That's got some great movement today.
Yeah.
I'm seeing some of these names trying to lift up here.
Puke is open, by the way.
And looks like it's going lower initially. Well, it's going back and forth. PRZO also trying to recapture VWAP. PLRZ tried to get back up to VWAP, got rejected. That's turned around. CGTX has not been able to get back up to VWAP yet, or the trend line.
Okay. All right, 13, you got any closing words for the group here? We're going to move over to story trading here in a sec.
Well, folks, seems like we had a great day here with NUKK, thanks to Lion Atlas's call. Also had some good movement here in Cooler and a couple of the other names. Folks, we're going to probably see a lot of thin trading, for the rest of the week and maybe even next week after the FOMC decision. We do have Micron earnings tonight, so that could put some more bullishness back into the market if the earnings are good. So keep that on your radar. And I'll see you tomorrow for some more Market Edge.
All right. Sounds really good, 13. Really good job today and this week. We will see you tomorrow, and I will see you this evening in happy hour. 13's departure means that it is time for the folks from Story Trading. Let me go ahead and bring on Ben here. Ben, how you doing, boss?
Good. How you doing, Ryan?
Doing really good. Look, have you been trading this NUKK this last couple of days? This thing has been wild.
Yeah, I've been looking at it. And I decided to just throw 100 shares in there just so I don't have FOMO. But yeah, I have 100 shares. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. I've actually the trade that I did earlier here. When we trade some of these crazy things, got to reduce the share size here. I traded 100 share lot earlier for a couple $100. Okay, good stuff. What do you got coming up for us?
All right, I have a little bit of a lot of macro discussion, I think, and risk management, and some thoughts on how to preserve your gains. Right, like it's easy to make a lot of money in this kind of market. The real test is going to be, can you keep your profits? And I was thinking a lot about that the last couple of days. I kind of warned my community, let's not trade too much today. I think maybe FOMC will cause a lot of these risk assets to cool off. So I'm kind of in risk management mode here and trying to preserve the gains I've made.
Okay, I think that sounds really smart. I'll go ahead and bring on Rhett for you, and I'll let you guys get to it.
All right, Rhett. How you doing? Godfather's not with us today?
No, he's not with us today. Morning, guys. How's it going?
Oh, he can make it. Okay, cool. Doing great. How do I throw my screen up here?
I can do it for you here. Let me see. It's those little circles on the right there. Here's your screen. I'm going to get out of your way. Have a great session.
All right, sounds good. So yeah, this morning and last night I was telling people I don't want to trade much today. I'm not sure I listened to myself too much though. I did get into a little bit of trouble. Everything is just selling off, really bad price action, especially on the risk assets. Look at these. Wow. These risk assets, these smaller micro caps, the themes, the quantum themes and the drone themes and everything just selling off of the open. Oklo did hit our target. We gave this alert in pre-market at $20.60 with a $22.60 alert. But boy, did he have to execute right. He can sell at that $22.60 and then not re-enter. It's tough, man. I'm sure a lot of people, even if they made that money and they sold at our target, re-entered and got hurt. So it's a tough market today. I do have some UVXY hedge into 2 p.m. FOMC, but it's not quite working right now. We'll see what happens at 2 p.m., but it's a tough market.
Yeah, it really is. I actually ended up playing some SPY calls today, so that worked out pretty well. I already profited off those, locked in the profits for 50%, so that was a nice little move. But other than that, I'm probably just going to sit on the sidelines and watch everything unfold until after FOMC. Like you said, just sit back, preserve your profits, and just learn how to properly manage your money after you made all this money. That's the biggest thing I feel like with most people is they make a lot of money in the markets, but at the same time, they also give it back. So it's a big thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's go through some of these charts, some of these things that's on our screen, but I'm not sure I see any compelling buy alerts for you right at this moment. But let's go through these. Okay. We talked about Oklo. By the way, that was a non-binding agreement. So I was not big on that. If it was like a binding agreement or big money up front or something, maybe it'd been different. RCAT, we're looking at this as my biggest, it will be my second biggest position come Friday because I'm losing half of my position to covered calls. My biggest position is Tesla, so I have RCAT and Tesla up here. But RCAT here, we got that Palantir relationship, that Palantir deal announced on Monday morning, which we foresaw. We asked the CEO of RCAT about that. Are you going to do a deal with RCAT, with Palantir? So that was pretty interesting. So we've been playing this like a fiddle. Calling that 950 gap fill yesterday in our Discord, and people made out like a 14% gain from the bottom call in our Discord to the high of the day. But I'm not, I tried a quick trade on RCAT here before the CEO just went on Fox Business just about 15 minutes ago, just scalped a small gain. Could have done better, actually. I am not good on FOMC days. I have a lot of jitters on FOMC days. I'm not a good FOMC day trader. I get very scared. I turn upside down on trades, so, RCAT, I should have made a ton on this. I only made like $60 on like 9,000 shares. It was crazy that I was flipping. I could have made a lot more. Look at that. Wow. Look at that. Look at it go right now. RCAT. I was in this at like 9:11 and I sold it at like, I didn't see a big immediate pop after the guy went on Fox. And I'm like, oh, it's FOMC day. Everything else was selling off. The thing went to like 912 or something. I'm like, let me dump it. I made like $70. I could have made like, I had like, what did I have? 9,000 shares times 10 cents or whatever, been $900 so far. But yeah, I'm just very jittery on FOMC days. So in any case, not really looking to trade aggressively. That's the story on RCAT. Tesla, I've been holding this. If you guys know, I put out a huge call, probably like one of the most convicted calls maybe of my career. After the election came out, multiple videos on this on the day after election day, November 7th, calling for a 415 plus target, imminently. And that happened. Upgraded the target to 450 to 500. And that happened. And I just sold my first shares yesterday, not because I think you should sell Tesla here. I just wanted the money to rotate into Root. So let's look at Root here. Here's a daily chart on Root. This is one of my larger positions, maybe number 3 in size or 4. I guess it's Tesla, RCAT, and then Root. Yeah, I think this is my third largest position in my retirement account. Picked up some trade shares yesterday as well. Look at this, bounce off the 50 DMA. Fundamentals of this really, really, really good, Rhett. So I just needed a source of funds, and I was up big on Tesla, so I decided to sell 5% of my Tesla to add into Root yesterday.
Then let's pull up SEZL real quick.
Sezzle. Oh, isn't that? I'm not too familiar with this. I think Godfather was all over this. You may be more familiar with it as well.
Down significant. I think it's like down 21% at the moment.
Yeah. Didn't you play Sezzle? This is kind of also like a fintech company. Because I remember Godfather was comparing Sezzle to Root at some point. Wow, what is going on? Down 21%.
I'm trying to find this out.
There must be news. There must be news on Sezzle. Wow.
Short report out. Short report out.
Oh, short report out. 274 to 247. Hopefully 240. Hopefully that doesn't impact Root. But I have no position in Sezzle. I've never researched this company. And let me just see if it's having a sentiment impact at all on Root. Not really. Okay, cool. So I have no opinion on that. I'm not going to give advice on what you should do there. Was there a specific question on that?
No, I was just bringing it to your attention because I know they were somewhat correlated.
Yeah, as I said on Nuke, I called it right last night, but I could not do a lot of shares. Last night in after hours, I'm like, if this breaks, it was yesterday's high. If it breaks 1766 in after hours, I said last night, then we're seeing 20s to 30s tomorrow. And I was so confident about it. But what I wasn't confident about was, are we going to see the 20s or 30s in the 4 to 7 a.m. session? Or is it going to be after that? Because I can't trade 4 to 7 a.m. I got to fix that. So because of that worry, I'm like, maybe we hit 20s to 30s in the 4 to 7 a.m. session. and then it's down from there. I won't be able to sell. So I didn't really, I had like 300 shares overnight. Now I only have 100 shares. But in any case, not my typical thing to do. This is just like a gamble, just for fun. But let me point out one stock that is having really good relative strength today that is not selling off. And this is my largest. Not anymore. It's my second largest now. I'll get to my second largest position in my trade account. It used to be my largest. Okay. Right now it's mine, MIND. But MOB, this is the most undervalued drone stock by far. Okay. You will not find another. This is only a $22 million market cap, but it's not a shitco. They have like some like 10 million net cash, or maybe it's 8 million net cash. They actually have sales. They have a great management team. They sell their drone products to U.S. military and Israeli military. I mean, this is crazy. So this one is very strong today. Looks like it continues to get found. Every single person I bring to their attention, when I say I'm talking about colleagues, institutional investors, people who are professionals in Wall Street. I've been bringing MOB to their attention, and every single person, after, it's very easy to research this. After like a half hour of research, they're like, oh my gosh, this thing is worth at least $6 to $10. So this continues to be strong, continues to be it was my largest. Now it's my second largest holding in my trade account. So that's a silver lining here. Stock holding up, a risk asset holding up this morning, MOB.
Yeah, and there's another one out too on just speaking on the drone sector. UMAC got a price target upgrade.
Yes,
to 18.
yes, it did. UMAC got Maxim. I don't. Maxim's not like a particularly respected house. So I didn't take any action on this. Look, I bailed on that. We made a lot of money on the way up from like 5 to 20. All right, hit our targets all the way up. Re-entered a little bit early, and then took a loss on the second re-entry, but still up big this month on UMAC. But after I interviewed the CEO, I decided not to play with UMAC anymore. And we've been sticking with RCAT and MOB for the most part. And the reason for that is this relationship with Donald Trump Jr. I thought it was going to be more significant, but it's not. I thought it was going to be his playing a more active role. They're really going to, try to have this big effort to do Made in America. And it really wasn't. It really just happened to be a happenstance relationship between, UMAC's accountant, which has an office in Trump Tower, and Trump Jr. is just going to be just a passive role, really, and is just going to let the UMAC CEO do what he does. No particular big plans were told to us of, hey, then we have Trump Jr., we're going to raise some big money, we're going to buy this company and that company. They would like to do that, for sure. But, in terms of Trump Jr.'s involvement, it's very, very limited. So I decided to bail on UMAC, Brett.
Sounds good. Thanks for that info, Ben.
You were there. You saw that interview, right?
Yep, I was there in the background.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if you had a different takeaway from that. What
I kind of got the same feelings that you got too. I think long term, I think they may play out pretty well for them, but for now, no, not really.
Yeah, this nuke chart is so beautiful. I mean, it's okay. Let's see, 100 shares of financial freedom. Maybe we'll get to $80,000 tonight. You never know. All right.
Okay. What was that one? It was like it was
Chinese. Yeah, it was
HNK or something.
Yeah,
something like that.
I forgot what it was.
HDK, something like that. It went from
exactly. I know exactly what you're
$5
talking
to
about.
like 2,500 shares.
I know exactly.
Crazy.
I'm like, that's all you need. Oh shoot, we broke this whole line. All right, whatever. See, it's good to have the proper allocation. The best way to do risk management is proper allocation size. All right. It's really hard to manage risk with stop losses. I find I don't do that. A lot of times you get stopped out at the absolute worst times. Also hard to manage risk with options. Sometimes you could do that with the right stock, but I find the best way to manage risk is choose the right allocation size, and you're either right or you're wrong. You let it play out. And if it doesn't work, you take your loss at the end of the day or at the end of the week or whenever the thesis dies. You don't have to worry about doing crazy shit. So to me, that's how I manage my risk. 100 shares. That's it. If it gets cut in half, I lose $1,200. Right.
Yep. So we have a few questions in here, Ben.
Yeah,
so it says, Mob, only thing I don't like is it's an Israeli company got burned by SPCB. Don't know what SPCB is. You want to touch base?
Well, look, there's good companies and crap companies everywhere. I don't think Israel has the same reputation as China. Chinese companies, a lot of fraud with Chinese companies. Israeli companies, a lot of great companies within Israeli companies. I'm sure there's some bad ones and some frauds as well. I would say though that they have a big Australia office. Australia office, and also the CEOs in the States. So I'm trying to get more information about their operations and all that. But yeah, it's Australia, Israel, and some management in the States. But to me, I stay away from Chinese companies. Like I have a general rule to stay away from Chinese companies because so much fraud. But no, Israeli companies I'm okay with. All right, look at that bid here, 15,352. Yep.
And then the other one is going to be NBIS, the Godfather. Like this name, do you guys buy any?
Yeah, I added back. I have not been as bullish on the Godfather on NBIS in terms of timing because of the technicals. The RSI got kind of heated. It started rolling over, so I kind of predicted we'd hit the 20 DMA. We hit it today, so I added more to my position at the 20 DMA here. But I still worry a little bit. The RSI, could still come down more. If you break the 20 DMA, there's these different support levels here. You got $26. You have the 50 DMA, also the gap. That will be the gap fill here at 22. So 23 to 26, I don't think is out of the question. Now, I added in case the 20 DMA finds support right here today, but certainly I'm not at max size, right? I think there's a chance you break that, especially if FOMC triggers some sort of sell-off. You could see a quick move down to the 23 to 26 range, and then I'd load up, max size into that area. So that's the deal with NBIS.
Awesome.
All right. So here's a few others we're looking at today. I took my profits on this just before the show. It started rolling over, but this one is a good one. Made good money on this yesterday. We saw the 200 DMA break. So in after hours, we saw a 200 DMA broke. It held, had a nice pattern after hours, held that overnight, made some good money this morning. But again, this is one of those stocks I worry about in FOMC triggering a sell-off in risk assets. So I'm out of that for right now. This one's curious. There must be, I don't know, some warrants, some convertible, something. ABAT. This is very interesting because they got a $144 million grant, not a loan. 144. By the way, where are you seeing these questions, Rep? Because on the right-hand side here, I don't see anything. I just see the last comment I see is from 10:49 a.m. about ONDS.
Oh, really? It just pops up on my end. Like all the questions keep flowing in, so I'll keep
are they at the top, not at the bottom? East of StreamYard. Oh, yeah.
Okay, you see it now?
Yeah, okay. All right. I was wondering last week, I'm like, how come there are no comments? All right, so they're on the top, not the bottom. All right. So in any case, ABAT, there must be something. There must be some overhang, some converts, some warrants, something like that, because this doesn't make too much sense here. $144 million grant on a 76 million market cap. So I've already took losses on half of my shares, so that one not working out for me today. We'll see if it bounces back. SkyT, this was great yesterday, but man, I didn't hold it. SkyT, my friend who's a broker, has a bunch of money that he manages, is one of his favorite stocks. And the day before this exploded, he contacted me. He's like, Ben, there's something. Look at this volume. It's something's going on. Someone's buying SkyT here. This is literally the day before it exploded, right up there. Something's going on. I know this stock like the back of my hand, and I I didn't listen to him. Now the next day when it broke out, we gave the alert in the community 1160 with a 1290 target. So that was nice. 1160 to 1290. People made money. But look at it. Hit 19 today. Pull back to 60. And I'm like, oh, and this is a real company too. So I knew at SkyT, they have real revenue and everything. So getting picked up as a quantum play. They don't do a lot of quantum stuff. But in any case, missed opportunity not holding some overnight, or frankly, not doing bigger size yesterday. Because again, the fundamentals on this company are good. And then you layer on top the sentiment trade and the quantum trend trade. Should have maybe done a bigger position in SkyT or held some overnight, but alas, that didn't happen. We made a couple $1,000 on that yesterday, but you take it. A win is a win. All right.
Yes, another one right here, Ben, too, is gonna. I've never heard of this company, PLRZ.
Oh yeah. PLRZ. That's the drone. Is it? Oh no, it's not. Oh
No,
no. I thought it was some PRZO. PLRZ. I don't know. Polyhorizon Limited, up 200%, 14 million market. Look, I have to say a lot of what I think is going on here, unless there's news here. Let's see. For our partner, okay, this one does have news. Partners with CDMO for clinical trial material. Okay, this is like a probably an early stage biotech type of thing. I'm not going to have an opinion on this unless I can really read the catalyst, understand the catalyst, and figure out what's the impact of that catalyst on fundamentals, what's the impact of the catalyst on sentiment. Then I would look at the technicals. We start with the catalyst. We don't start with the technicals. That's what makes our community at Story Trading different. I'm sure probably 90% of FinTwit, and traders, they're looking at this chart and they see opportunity and they have a process and they're like, okay, here's an opportunity. That's not how we work at Story Trading. So I'd have to dig into that catalyst to see if this move is warranted or not. It might be warranted. I don't know. So unfortunately, I can't really comment on that stock or any stock that I don't previously know too much about. Okay, let's keep going, working down our list here. MU has earnings tonight. This is a stock I used to own long-term in my retirement account, and at some point I bailed. I forget when I bailed on it because I needed the money for other stuff that was working better. Now with earnings around the corner, I did decide to add this back to my retirement account as a long-term hold. Not going to trade it, hopefully. Hopefully it's a long-term hold. We'll see what happens. And I do have a couple call options this week in my trade account. I think 115 strikes for this week, just 2 or 3, nothing big. So we'll see what happens with MU tonight. All eyes on MU. There's really no other earnings of note going on, so everyone will be focused on MU tonight. Let me dig in here to just getting a note from our Discord. Someone seeing positive signs on MOB. Yeah, MOB is looking really strong. Okay, let me dig into Mind. Mind is actually now my largest position in my trade account. Overtook MOB because this earnings report was absolutely stellar. You could see it, right? Wow, look what it's done since the earnings report. And I played along with everyone else here after I saw that earnings report. I made it my largest position, and it's been up almost every single day. A pullback today. We have a technical target range of 7 to 10, right? Now, when we initiated this, where was it? When we initiated this, it was like 5, right? So already into that range. Well, I'm now briefly below it here. So 7 to 10. Godfather looked at this. He agreed with me. He put his fundamental hat on, and he came up with a fair value of 10 to 12. So Mind has been an awesome ER re-rating play. Microcap stock, though, 54 million. But they're profitable, making money. I don't care about market cap size. If you're making money, you're good. I invest in from 20 million market cap to 1.5 trillion, right? It's like in my top 5, I got Tesla and MOB in my top 5 right now. So I don't discriminate. If you're making money, right? If you're legit, you're not a shitco, all right? You get to be invested in, and that's why Mind and MOB and Tesla all belong in the top 5 for me. All right. What else do we have going on? We talked about Root and any other questions? I don't have too much else here to talk about. It's not for today. IMRX failed for now. Geo has not been working out the way I wanted.
Look at that SPY coming back. Today's gonna be a roller coaster of a day, I tell you. Till we get that. So that meeting is gonna be huge.
It is. It is gonna be huge, and I think there's a distinct risk that Powell comes in and says something like maybe, inflation's been a little hot. We have to wait and see. We have to look at the data. There are no promises we're going to cut rates anymore after this. I worry about that. And if we get that, man, I tell you, let's just look briefly at IWM and RK here.
And then another one I want to mention too, real quick, Ben, is Bitcoin coming up, testing this key level again, coming back down.
Okay, so IWM here first. It's been pulling back ahead of this FOMC. Really driven, I think, by these regional bank stocks, KRE. So it's a concern. Now, the question is, has it pulled back enough to consider probably a moderation of Powell's words compared to last time? Now, if he doesn't moderate and is just as kind of dovish as last time, then we can bounce off this 50 DMA. But there's certainly a risk that he starts getting hawkish and we break below. Now, Bitcoin, look, at this point with Bitcoin, it's just chop. The one thing that I'll say that I said leading as we're heading towards 100,000. Let me go to the daily chart here. Okay. All right. I made a prediction that didn't quite exactly hold, but it kind of held, right? I said this 100,000 is huge resistance, and this turned out to be great. I'm like, we're going to get rejected the first time, or don't be surprised if we get rejected the first time, because it is a massive psychological resistance. And then if you do break it, because it's such a huge resistance, it will become a huge support. And if you do break it, you're never going to see below 100,000 again. And I said, if you see below 100,000 again, it'll be for a very, very short period of time. I said, I was like maybe a matter of minutes. It ended up being like half a day. But did it go below 100 the second time? I guess it did. Wait, no. It must have. Hold on. Oh, it did a second time. It did. So initially it went below for like a maybe 10 hours, went back above, and then it dipped below a second time. So in the big picture, that's my prediction, right? I got the subtlety of it wrong, like how long will be below 100. But the big picture, I think once you're above 100, again, because that was such a strong resistance, I think it becomes such a strong psychological support now. And I have a little bit of a hard time seeing it go below 100 and stay below 100. Let's hope that's right, but I don't know. So at this point, anything in here is just kind of chop, and I'm not going to predict what happens in between this level and the 20 DMA and 100. We'll see what happens, but I have a long-term position like everyone else at this point in Bitcoin.
Then we also have do you like Uber at these levels? You want to touch base on that with
you know what? I've been having a lot of people keep bugging me. Ben, you got to get into Uber. They're not dead. They're a great company. More than a couple people who I respect who've been saying you got to get into Uber. Look at that. It's up 3% today. But what? 3%? Like, who cares? Like Tesla, we're up 70, 80% on it. Look, I'm not saying that Tesla's an Uber killer at all, but if I have to decide where my capital is going to go, obviously Uber's been hurt because of Tesla and FSD, developments in FSD, and the stuff with the administration and Trump and robotaxi. Like, yeah, Uber's not going to go away. In fact, probably I would think that Tesla would want to do some sort of partnership with Uber at some point, maybe use their app, right, for people's if they're going to, with Tesla cars or with the robotaxi or whatever. But I just kind of see this as my bucket of money. If my money is going to be either an Uber or Tesla, I'm going to take Tesla. I know Tesla's overvalued compared to Uber, but Uber doesn't have moonshot programs and things that are not being valued like Tesla has, right? When it comes to energy and Optimus and all this kind of stuff, Uber doesn't have that stuff. So this isn't my big cat bucket of money. I'd rather just be in Tesla.
Without a doubt. Then we have a question saying, did you say Bitcoin will never go below 100,000?
I'm saying I hope it doesn't. That's my prediction. I don't know. Never is a strong word. Obviously, the world will look a lot different 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now. We might be using entirely different technologies. But, for the foreseeable future, for as long as Bitcoin is relevant, right, then that was my prediction. And you know what? I'm just going to stick with my prediction and see what happens. I know it's really overbought on the daily, overbought on the weekly. I get it. But 100,000 is a very meaningful number. And this Trump election is very meaningful. And that's my prediction. We're going to get defended. Wow. HYDTF is up 10%. Now, this is interesting. What is the market cap on this one? It's only 38 million and it's very thinly traded. But this is one that the Godfather, has really been pushing in our community. He thinks it's a 10-bagger. 10-bagger, like $37 million to $370 million. This is something like sort of like a Canadian hymns or something like that. Or at least some sort of, not exactly the same, but in that mean. So, getting some bids here the last couple of days. I have a very small position. It's hard to buy it. It's like, and if Fidelity doesn't even let you, they're like, no, there's not enough volume in the stock. You can only buy 100 shares at a time or something. So, yeah. Anyway, I just got that alert. Okay. let's see
We
what
have
else
another
we got.
thing saying, another point on Bitcoin, quantum computing is now becoming a reality, which could potentially be the end of all blockchain.
Yeah, I've heard that. I know. Oh, I got to talk about air. This is the last thing we'll talk about. It's 11:28. Those of you who've been following me for years know that air was and still is my #1 most successful trade in my career. Made $1 million over 4 months on this. It was just brilliant, and you can see where it happened. It was right in here in 2021, where I bought. I had 50,000 shares of it, or $50,000 worth at 250, and they had some inflection point news right here. It was right in here, guys. I doubled my position to 100,000. I held it, did not sell a single share until 25, and then I sold the entire position at $25. Look at that. Picture perfect. I missed the move to $54, but I know this company inside and out. I've talked to the CEO many, many, many times. They just had a huge, huge news report the other day here. News report, a press release, a partnership on AI, $10 million AI order. So they're moving from EVs, silicon, the wafer testing, burn-in testing for EVs. Now they got an AI production deal, $10 million to be totally used up over 90 days. Okay, so that's air. So we put out an alert on this one with some big price targets. Ooh, this is going to be juicy and fun. $18 to $21, somewhere in that vein. Up 5% today. There's your relative strength. Follow through after some really good news. Wow, you love to see relative strength on a day like today. Look at this cup starting to form. Air drawing my attention. I'll have to go back and look at that right after this show and make sure I have an adequate position size in that. All right, Ryan, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How'd it go, fellas?
Pretty good.
Went well. A little bit of a different day today. Waiting for FOMC, not doing a lot of trading.
They're all different. I just like you. I'm still waiting for this FOMC. We got to get this out of the way, and then I'm sure we'll figure out what to do next.
Exactly.
Yep.
All right, gentlemen. Have a good one here today. We'll catch you next week.
Sounds good. Have a good one, Ryan.
All right. Take care. That is Ben and Rhett from Story Trading. Those guys are awesome. We appreciate it. Love all of the interaction in the chat. And that leaves room for the one and only Dan. Let's go ahead and bring him on. Dan, how you doing here? Oh, whoa. Cleaned up nice. I love the jacket, brother.
Listen, I gotta, raise the level for the greatness of Ryan Fluta. By the way, can you get me involved in some $1 million trades? I'm ready for a couple of those.
Yeah, sure. Tesla. That's one that we've been talking about all the time. Tesla's definitely going to be one of them, but I can't wait to hear what you have. What do you have coming up here?
Dude, we got back-to-back. We got double header all access. We're going to start with Shylin Simmons, the CEO of LogicMark, and then we're going to get to my man Gideon Ben-Zvi, the CEO of Valence Semiconductor. So we got it's like Ernie Bakes. Let's play two. You're a Chicago guy. Let's do it.
I love it. Let's play two. You know what? I can't even say it any better. Dan, take it away, boss.
Thanks so much, Ryan. Hey, Zingers, welcome to All Access. I've got a fascinating guest for you today. Shylin Simmons, the CEO of LogicMark. The NASDAQ ticker is LGMK. She's joining us for an exclusive talk today. All Access starts right now. And it is my pleasure to welcome in the CEO of LogicMark, Shylin Simmons. Just great to be with you today. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays, Dan. It's great to be here with you as well.
Yeah, great to see you again. We saw you at one of our great conferences. So let's talk about LogicMark. Give us an overview of LogicMark, Shylin.
Sure. LogicMark is a company that's been around since 2006, and we are in the personal safety space. And so we develop great technology for both sort of helping the elderly, but also providing personal safety for everyone.
Yeah, when you look at how your devices work, let everyone know how that works and what makes them stand out in the field right now.
Sure, that's a really great question. So look, medical alerts has never been something that people consider to be super sexy. Let's be honest, right? It's the I fall and I can't get up kind of business. But we really entered this business so that we can actually create really amazing technology that's going to just blow that kind of old concept out of the skies, right? So we've been around for, as I mentioned, since 2007. I joined a company in 2021, coming out of some, I would say pretty cool tech companies such as Google and Amazon. And my job has has been to basically create some amazing technology to really transform this business. Much like, in the way where we used to all be really happy with our Motorola Razors, and then the iPhone came along, right? So, recently we actually created something that's called Freedom Alert Max. And so that's really blowing the idea of medical alerts right out of the water. It's a device that literally has amazing fall detection, geofencing for people who have memory care or Alzheimer's issues. And we can continue to add services on top of services for those folks who are in need of it. And it's the easiest to use smartphone. And let's be honest, nobody's mom and dad actually wants to wear something that looks like an old person's device. It's really cool and sleek. And it's a really cool little cell phone, smartphone that actually is really a PERS device in disguise.
Yeah, by the way, speaking of my dad, he would love to still use a flip phone, but you got to look towards the future, Shylin. And how has the launch of the Freedom Alert Max been so far?
It has been fantastic. I've got to tell you, people have, really, really loved the product. We are hearing back from not just the consumers, but also our other partners, such as the Veterans Administration. Folks are really interested in what we're doing. I think that, in the world that we're living in today, people really want to your point, your dad wanting an easy to use cell phone. This is super easy as you can get, but also a device that keeps them safe and healthy. And so, the product actually links to apps so that you can actually make sure that you can actually, make sure your parents are safe. And so if something in an emergency happens, it'll actually allow you to basically check in via video, live streaming video. And so who doesn't want something like that to say like, oh my gosh, my dad is on the ground and I need to get him help as soon as possible.
No, that is fantastic. And we all want to check in on our parents and loved ones. And that's such a cool thing that you guys have launched. Let's talk, Shylin, about your Q3 report. Can you give us a rundown and what are the highlights?
Yeah. So, until recently, the last 3 years, or actually the last year even, we actually have been a hardware only company. And so we actually have maintained an excellent margin business, and that was above 60%. And so I'm very proud to say that, since the time that we've been here, since 2021, the margin has been 67, 68%, and we've maintained that in Q3. And also in Q3, we saw an increase in our revenue. And so we have been taking the company from being sort of a business to government sort of business in hardware only to being a company that is not just a hardware and government business, but actually selling into B2B, as well as our sort of new B2C model. And most importantly, we are actually doing SaaS modeling. And so that means that we are not just selling the hardware, but actually bringing recurring services subscription to customers. And so if you can imagine, everybody loves SaaS, right? And so that recurring model is fantastic. And so for our business, according to our industry organization, it's a 36-month LTV. That's much, much better than your typical sort of music service or consumer sort of box. And so we actually typically have a 36-month LTV is, what the industry shoots for. And we're the kind of business that's not just a sort of one-shot only type of subscription business as well. So you get your base product of $34.99 with monitoring and 24/7 US-based monitoring service. But then if you want fall detection, it's additional $9.99. You want geofencing and is another $9.99 on top of that. So we aim to provide additional services that is a multi-layered revenue stream off of every customer. Absolutely. And so, when our sort of concept is that, look, at the end of the day, customers have a lot of different needs and they want to package them up differently, maybe not memory care, but fall detection or vice versa. And so it gives us the opportunity to sort of provide that to the customer, but also for investors and for the company to bring in additional revenue streams where it's needed.
Absolutely. And listen, all investors love when companies can reduce costs and boost margins. How are you working to reduce costs and boost those margins? What about your sales and how is LogicMark expanding there?
Sure. So, we have, maintained a 67-68% sort of margin for the company. And so that is actually fantastic. And as we start sort of growing our recurring subscription business, we'll have a blended sort of hardware plus subscription business, which has a much larger margin. And so we expect to maintain that and hopefully grow that as well. Revenue has been growing. And reduction of costs has been happening. We've done the majority of our R&D in the past 3.5 years, right? So we are now in a growth mode where we're just focused on revenue and opening new channels to sales. And so it's a pretty exciting time to be part of the company as well. So, and that's, 18 patents later, right? Yeah. So we've been really busy in the last 18 months. So
definitely a good place to be in.
Claire, yeah.
Yeah, it's exciting times. And I know, Shailene, you recently initiated a reverse stock split. How did that end up going? And are you still in compliance with the NASDAQ?
Yes, we are. It went well, and we are still in compliance with the NASDAQ. And we've actually had folks who are former investors come back to join us, as well as amazing new investors as well as part of that. And so, in recent raises, and so the reverse stock split went well, and we are in full compliance. So.
That's great news. And do you expect any changes in the regulatory environment that would impact LogicMark under the new administration that's coming in January?
Oh boy. You know what, Dan? Your guess is as good as mine. So
I like guessing too sometimes.
Yes. And so my job is not to guess, of course. Look, we are fully prepared for, as much as we can. COVID has taught us a lot. I came in as a COVID CEO at a company that was in a little bit of a distress, as you may know. And so we've actually been sort of taking care of things like supply chain integrity issues, moving manufacturing from different locations, for example, out of China. So that's actually been helpful for us. As we know, we don't know what the regulatory tariff situations look like in the new administration. And so, we are a small micro cap company in a NASDAQ, and we are actually as prepared as possible for dealing with things like supply chain and tariffs, right? So.
Well, two very exciting times ahead. I know you got a lot of great stuff going on. It was an absolute pleasure talking with you today, Shailene. Thank you so much for your time, and happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you, Dan. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
The honor and pleasure all mine. That was the CEO of LogicMark, Shailene Simmons. Their ticker on the NASDAQ is LGMK. And now we're bringing you part 2 of our All Access doubleheader. You got to love it. Another great interview coming right up with Valens Semiconductor CEO Gideon Ben-Zvi. Their ticker on the New York Stock Exchange is VLN. All Access continues right now. And it is my pleasure to welcome in the CEO of Valens Semiconductor, Gideon Ben-Zvi. It's wonderful to be with you today, Gideon.
It's wonderful to be with you, Dan, and thank you for having me.
Oh, listen, it's great to have you, and I'm really excited to talk with you. Listen, Valens Semiconductor is a chip maker with $5.5 billion in total addressable market and immense growth potential in the automotive sector. Before we get into that, Gideon, can you give us a brief overview of the company?
Okay, Valens is a semiconductor company in a fabless model. We are 17 years old. We sold so far more than 40 million chips of many kinds, all of them in the world of long-reach connectivity. We have more than 120 patents, traded in New York Stock Exchange under VLN, about 250 employees, based in Israel, offices all over the world, and a subsidiary company which we just acquired in Boulder, Colorado.
Awesome. And I know you reported that the total addressable market for Valens within automotive alone is expected to reach $4.5 billion by 2029. What are the key drivers behind this growth?
Well, the world requires more and more autonomous driving as well as assisted driving, and this requires a lot of cameras, and cameras require more and more resolution. And why they require more and more resolution? To prevent more and more cases of almost accident. And if you want to see a very small foot of a small child in a braking distance of whatever 100 of meters, you need to have a certain resolution to prevent this accident. And resolution comes with bandwidth. And bandwidth comes with fragility to electromagnetic influence. And Valens is the company that allows the electromagnetic influence to be taken care of. And this is why the market is so big. We're speaking about, the ADAS companies speak about between 8 and 12 cameras, 2 to 4 radars. It is far more than 10 links per car. Each link has a transmitter and a receiver. Transmitter receivers are 2 chips. And each link would be anywhere between $4 and $5.50, depends in many conditions. And as more advanced the system will be, the more bandwidth they will need to take, and as more they will be needing products like us to prevent the links to be broken because of the electromagnetic influence.
Right. And Gideon, I know you also recently referred to electromagnetic interference as a hidden enemy for automakers. Can you explain why this is a growing challenge for OEMs?
Yeah, well, this is a very non-intuitive thing. When we're moving from 2 gigabit to 4 gigabit, the fragility and the exposure to electromagnetic is far more than double. So what can happen that what would work with 2 gigabit at a very certain level of camera, now we have a lot more advanced camera that have a lot more resolution, and the car would have an excellent sensor and an excellent ECU to understand what the sensor saw, and there is a link in between, and the car just was driving near a cellular antenna or above a bridge or near a very big truck with a lot of whatever inside, and there is no link. The great camera is not seen by the great computing, and the whole infrastructure does not work. What Valens does here, Valens is the developer of the technology that's actually very sophisticated. Instead of preventing all of the mistakes that in some stages impossible, we let some of them in and correct them. And this is how we allow ourselves to be far more resilient than any other solution.
That's fascinating. And I know you mentioned that Valens technology forms the basis of an industry standard called AFI. Can you tell us more about that?
Sure. Well, before AFI, there was HDB stick, the standard that Valens developed for the audio video world, and actually became the standard in most of the conference rooms and more of the video distribution that we meet every day in many, many places. And then MIPI organization, MIPI is the organization that all our cell phones, all our mobile phones, all the video inside is driven by the MIPI standard. And they decided to move and have an offering standard also for automotive, and they made a world bid, and all the big names competed. Of course, Valens, which was a smaller company by far, also competed. We even not been public at this time, and the superiority of technology was shown off, and we were selected among all others. And some of the names there are very, very, very big names in the industry, and we're very proud to be that at that time a very small company from Israel that the standard was exceeding all the other technologies and got the MIPI approval. And today, MIPI is a real ecosystem. You would see MIPI everywhere. There's so many companies developing together with MIPI from all the ecosystem, from the sensors to the computing and cameras, and really everyone.
No, and it's really awesome too. I mean, you obviously recently announced those 3 design wins for your AFI compliant chipsets. And can you share more details about the wins and what they mean for the future of the in-vehicle electronic design?
Yeah, well, first I want to tell you that a company of our size, although today we're bigger than we were when we were elected, we cannot win by points. When the win is by points, unfortunately, the incumbent large company would be taken among us. We have to win by knockout. And if the win was not by knockout, we would simply not been taken. And what happened in this on those 3 bids, that it was proved that there were real cases that could be shown how the resilience is in effect, and other technologies, which are great technologies, but based on analog only, have its glass ceiling, what it can achieve and how much they can prevent from electromagnetic interference.
That's awesome. And this is really cool as well. Think Equity, I know, recently issued a buy rating for Valens and set the price target at $5. Can you share how these recent milestones align with the company's TAM projections, and what factors are driving this confidence?
Well, I'll start that I believe that you interview a lot of companies, and there's no single CEO who doesn't believe that he's totally undervalued. It's part of our game, and I'm one of them, but I'm right.
Nothing wrong with being right.
And we see, and we announced our plan. We dared to give a plan of several years, how we triple our company, and put the plan on the table and show it to the stock market. And it's not only in the automotive. Furthermore, very interestingly, the automotive chips, which initially developed only for automotive, we found there are created a lot of interest also in the industrial and even in the audio video world. So the relationship between the like automotive and non-automotive are very tight. It's not like 2 different separate creations. It's one company, one creation, and there are derivatives. And I believe it's a lot of the market recognize the potential, recognize the superiority, and see the market, see what we do, see the market, how the market accepts us, and more. And each of us meet Valens every day. whether it's in a conference room, whether he has to go to be checked by MRI or CT, or whether there are so many applications, or whether he drives a Mercedes. There are so many locations and places every day that you meet Valence chips.
Yeah, that's why CEOs like you, Gideon, continue to do amazing things because they know that they're right. I love that. You also have outlined an ambitious 5-year plan that focuses around large opportunities in new industries. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, first, it is not built on miracles. There is no something which is huge and all the rest is small. It's built by pieces. It's going from the audio video, which I call it the king of the paddle. It's a small market, and we're king there, and we're moving to the lake. And the lake, there are other fish. But we come to a lake that there is a lot of opportunity for us, and we demonstrate an advantage, which we believe will take a nice stake. In addition, in the original audio-video world, we have the opportunity of going into new areas in audio-video, especially the video cameras and the audio-video cameras, and what's called the huddle room and the small room opportunities, which was very small before and looks like it's ramping up very fast. So those two are in the world of audio-video. In addition, there is the medical world. There are several opportunities there, both in the medical equipment and probably, and I'm saying probably, in the single-use endoscopy, which seems as a solution that we have a very unique offering over there. And the automotive is automotive. And I didn't even speak about the trucks, which is another opportunity between the automotive and the AV, which will allow the reverse camera and some other blind spot areas that are really life-saving solutions using our very unique technology.
Very exciting times ahead for Valence Semiconductor. It was an absolute pleasure talking with you today, Gideon. Thank you so much for your time and happy holidays.
Thank you so much to you. Bye-bye. Happy holidays.
True pleasure. Take care. That was the CEO of Valence Semiconductor, Gideon Ben-Zvi. Their ticker on the New York Stock Exchange is VLN. Don't go anywhere, though. We have Tech Tune-Up with Paul Meeks coming up next and FOMC later today, too. Thank you, Zingers. We'll see you back here on Market Edge tomorrow.